Chapter 1658. In the floating cloud bar, Zhao Qibing and the others were sitting in a row, having a short meeting. Master Bing, I can't accept this. I went to Lin Yi's villa to wait for him yesterday, and Lin Yi had a guest. Lin Yi didn't hide his strength when he came out to greet them. And from what I can see, Lin Yi is only golden class late phase peak. Boss Zhu said. He can recover his strength, but he can only go back to golden class late phase peak. Any more and he'll lose his strength again, turning into a normal person. Are you sure? Qibing frowned, his heart skipped a beat. Did Lin Yi discover you and purposely release his strength for you to see? He's not trying to trick us, is he? Zhao Qibing's legs had been broken by Lin Yi a couple of times, and he was a little afraid of Lin Yi. He was starting to get paranoid. It can't be right? My camouflage ability is very strong. In my early years, I obtained a secret book on Qi Men Xianjia that can hide my Jin Qi. Even a sky-ranked master wouldn't be able to detect me, Boss Zhu said. The secret book to turn Qin Qi into a cultivation furnace came from this book. I see. So you're saying, we'll do it on our own? Zhao Qibing didn't want to, but he didn't dare do it. Elder Bai had already spoken, and if he did something behind his back and Elder Bai found out, wouldn't he be disappointed in him? Master Bing, I can ambush Lin Yi on the way, and you can say that you didn't know about this, and that I did it on my own to avenge my brother. Boss Zhu said after some thought. Bullshit. Do you think my master's an idiot? Zhao Qibing waved his hand, denying Boss Zhu's idea. You're my man now, and everyone knows that. Do you think Zhao Qikuan won't make a big deal out of this? I'm being presumptuous. Boss Zhu thought about it and agreed. He had been loyal to the Zhao family for so many years. How could he suddenly act on his own? Didn't that mean they were under Zhao Qibing's orders? Thinking of this, Boss Zhu broke out in a cold sweat. He thought that Master Bing was very thoughtful. Otherwise, it would have been a disaster. Forget it. This is really depressing. I've prepared for so long, but in the end, it's all for naught, Qibing said unhappily. This hidden house pie is too cowardly. They don't even dare to make a move. Boss Zhu could only smile bitterly. Hidden House Zhao didn't make a move, and Hidden House Pai wasn't reckless either. Plus, the Hidden House Pai didn't have any direct conflict with Lin Yi. They just had some conflicts with him through the Xiao family. They didn't really hate Lin Yi that much. Right, I heard that there's a sect that specializes in assassinations. As long as you pay them, you can make them deal with people, just like assassins. Is that right? Zhao Qibing was a practitioner now, and as he walked towards the core of House Zhao, he knew more and more about the world. St. Hall there is. Boss Zhu nodded. Master Bing, you're saying that we should ask them for help. Can't I? Zhao Qibing asked. Money is not a problem, I have some. It's not impossible. It's just that these people are hard to deal with. Unless it's absolutely necessary, no one would ask them for help. Boss Zhu said. This sect is called Blood Cloak Underworld Sect. The entire sect trains assassins, but because of their uniqueness, they don't have many dealings with them. How much would it cost to kill Lin Yi? Zhao Qibing could only ask for outside help. Since House Zhao wouldn't do it, he'd hire someone to do it. I'll have to ask around, I don't know the details. Boss Zhu said. Master Bing, if you've decided, I'll ask someone to help you contact them. But Blood Cloak Underworld Sect has a rule. They never leave empty-handed. Since they're here to discuss business, they won't leave empty-handed. Whether you accept their price or not, you'll have to pay them the travel fee. Otherwise, I heard that they killed a client who didn't want to pay. That's why normal people don't want to contact them. Oh? Then ask them how much it is. Zhao Qibing gritted his teeth. As long as it's not too ridiculous, it's fine. All right, Master Bing, I'll contact them now. After confirming, Boss Zhu went to contact the Blood Cloak Underworld Sect. In the afternoon, the Blood Cloak Underworld Sect came. They were two men in black, looking very arrogant as if they didn't care about Zhao Qibing, the young master of the Hidden House Zhao. Master Bing, these two are the contacts of Blood Cloak Underworld Sect. They're both golden class late phase peak masters. Boss Zhu whispered to Zhao Qibing. Two masters at the peak of the late phase of the golden class were this powerful? Zhao Qibing frowned. Wasn't this too arrogant? Boss Zhu seemed to have seen through Qibing's thoughts as he whispered, "They're just contacts." Contacts? Was that a master of the peak late phase of the golden class? Zhao Qibing sucked in a breath of cold air. This meant that these two did have the right to be arrogant. Although they weren't that strong, a master at the peak of the late phase of the golden class was just a small fry in the Bloodcloak underworld sect. Just how powerful was the force behind them? These two did have the right to be arrogant. They weren't arrogant because of their strength, but because of the force they represented. "You two, I'm sure you know what I'm here for. Name your price. How much do you want to kill this person?" Qibing put a photo in front of the two black-clothed informants. These two had the right to be arrogant, but Qibing wasn't very respectful towards them. He was a hidden house, a strong contender for the future head of the house, and it was impossible for him to bow and scrape to these two. "How strong is this person?" one of the men asked. "Golden class late phase peak, the same as you two," Zhao Qibing said. "Golden class late phase peak?" The man frowned and looked at Zhao Qibing strangely before turning to Boss Zhu. "Could it be that your hidden house Zhao can't even handle a person at the peak of the late phase of the golden class? Do you know the consequences of lying to the blood-clad Yellow Spring sect?" Target equals _blank. Chapter 1659. If we could do it ourselves, we wouldn't need to invite you guys. Qibing said unhappily. "Boss Zhu, tell them what happened." Boss Zhu nodded and told the two black-clothed men about Lin Yi being poisoned by the 5-step powder, as well as the fact that he couldn't do it because of his family's decision. 7 asterisk. "I see, if he's really a golden class late phase peak, we can do it. The price is 10 million. It shouldn't be too much to kill a golden class late phase peak master, right?" The black-clothed man said faintly. "Think about it. If you don't agree, pay us 1 million and we'll leave right now." "Alright, 10 million it is, but you have to guarantee that you can kill him." Zhao Qibing clenched his teeth. He'd just gotten some money recently, all from Yao Wang. He was planning to use the money to develop real estate, but who would have thought that he'd give out another 10 million all of a sudden? But thinking of the humiliation Lin Yi brought him, he gritted his teeth and accepted the price. If Lin Yi died, he'd be very, very happy. If the strength you said matches, of course he'll die. Normally, to kill a golden class late phase peak master, we the blood-clothed Yellow Spring sect will send a mystic class late phase peak master. He'll die for sure, the black-clothed man said. "But if you lie about your strength, you'll be responsible for all the losses." "I'm talking about Lin Yi's strength, of course, but I have to remind you that he has 2 to 3 mystic class early phase masters with him. Don't be careless," Qibing said. "And from what I know, although this Lin Yi's strength is weak, he's a bit weird. You better send a few more masters, otherwise don't blame me if the mission isn't completed." "Don't worry about that. We're always a 3-man team when we go on missions. 3 masters at the peak of the late phase of the mystic class, killing 3 early phase masters and 1 late phase peak of the golden class is a piece of cake." The man nodded. "Alright, it's a deal then." Zhao Qibing swiped his card and paid 10 million to the man. He wanted to pay the down payment, and the other half after the mission was done, but Bloodcloak Underworld had a rule. The mission was to pay in full, so he had to comply. On the other side, Lin Yi was on his way when Bloodcloak Underworld and Zhao Qibing reached an agreement. Lin Yi, Xiao Tang Yun, Mr. and Mrs. Tang, Xiao Ming Qing, and the Ice Palace Master drove 2 cars. One was the Mercedes that Qing drove when the Ice Palace Master came, provided by House Tang. The other was the big Cherokee that Lin Yi drove to the Ice Palace. Lin Yi drove this car to the Ice Palace, and now, Xiao and Tang Yun were in this car. Rock Candy, on the other hand, was in Lin Yi's car. Of course, she wasn't going for Lin Yi, but for Xiao and Tang Yun. Mr. and Mrs. Tang, on the other hand, were in Qing's car, and the 2 cars headed to the hidden house Tang's town. Lin Yi and Qing were both practitioners, and driving day and night was no problem for them, especially since Qing was a sky class. She didn't use much stamina, and Mr. and Mrs. Tang and Xiao Ming slept in the car when they were tired. So, a journey that would normally take 3 to 4 days was half done in 1 day and 1 night. But on this night, when they passed an empty road, 3 men in black appeared not far from Lin Yi and Qing's car. These 3 men were the assassins sent by Bloodcloak Underworld. These people had been secretly studying Lin Yi's route for a long time. Although they didn't know their destination, They had analyzed the path they had to take based on the direction Lin Yi was going to take. And so, on this dark and windy night, the three were ready to make their move on this empty road. To be honest, the two speeding cars posed no threat to the three of them who were Mystic Late Phase Peak. They could just use their chi to flip the cars over. The three were obviously here to cause trouble. And so they unleashed all their strength. Mystic Late Phase Peak power was leaked out, and it was very domineering. Little Qing was in the first car. She was the first to feel the true chi leaking from the three people in the distance. She immediately frowned and stopped the car about 100 meters away from them. She used the car intercom system to ask Rock Candy, who was in the car behind. "Palace Master, someone is blocking the car." 3 Mystic Late Phase Peak cultivators. At this time, Qing could feel the chi from the three, and so could Lin Yi and Rock Candy. But Rock Candy found it funny that 3 Mystic Late Phase Peak cultivators dared to block their car. 3 Mystic Late Phase Peak? Did they want to die? There were 2 Sky Class Masters in the car, and Lin Yi was an Earth Class. Even if it was one-on-one, they would win without a doubt. What were these people trying to do? Were they robbing us, or did they have other motives? Don't expose your identity. Get out of the car and see who they are and what they do, Rock Candy said to Qing. Yes, Palace Master. Qing got out of the car after receiving Rock Candy's order. The 3 assassins didn't expect a woman to come down first. According to the information they got, Lin Yi was a master at the peak of the late phase of Golden Class, and there might be 2 to 3 masters at the early phase of Mystic Class beside him. However, they didn't think that it was a woman. Could it be that this woman was a master at the early phase of Mystic Class? Who are you? Why are you blocking the way? Qing asked indifferently. Where's Lin Yi? Get him out. The Blood Yellow Spring sect wants his life. The 3 didn't even put Qing in their eyes and said directly. Lin Yi heard everything clearly from the car behind. What was the Blood Yellow Spring sect? Lin Yi had never heard of such an organization. He had no grudges with them, so why would they want his life? When he was an assassin, Lin Yi did offend some organizations, but he used aliases. Those people couldn't chase him here, and know that his name was Lin Yi. So Lin Yi felt strange. He didn't know where these people came from and wanted to get out of the car to ask who sent them. You offended them? Rock Candy looked at Lin Yi and said indifferently. I'll get out and ask what's going on. Sky Class Girl, protect my wife. Lin Yi ordered. Chapter 1660. Bing Tang was speechless. Did I become your wife's bodyguard? But these 2 in the car, she had to protect themselves. One was her sister, the other was her junior. They were both very important. St. Hall, no need to ask. Bing Tang said faintly, blood-clothed underworld sect, I know. It's an assassin organization that takes money to do things. These small characters are just executioners. They wouldn't know anything about their employer. Oh. Lin Yi frowned. So it was an assassin organization. No wonder he hadn't heard of it. He thought he'd offended them somehow, but it seemed like someone had hired them. Qing couldn't make the decision herself after hearing the 3's words. She turned towards Lin Yi's car, ready to ask the sect master what to do. But just as Qing was walking over, the sect master had already opened the window and said one word very casually, kill. Yes. With the sect master's orders, Qing turned abruptly, and in the next moment, 3 Mystic Late Phase Peak Mystic Class Masters had their heads separated from their bodies, dying with their eyes wide open. They didn't even know what had happened. They were already dead before the sect master could even react to the word kill. The name of their sect was indeed true. At this moment, the clothes on their bodies had already become bloody clothes, and they had also died in the Yellow Springs. St. Hall Lin Yi, on the other hand, only saw the weapon Qing used after she made her move. It was just a piece of silk, a small accessory on her sleeve. There wasn't a single drop of blood on it. It must have been too fast, or Qing had wrapped the silk with pure qi. Qing's methods made Lin Yi's heart palpitate. It seemed like the sect master and Qing had gone easy on him at the Ice Palace, giving him the chance to use the energy bomb to scare them. Now that he thought about it, he realized how laughable he was back then. If Bing Tang and Qing really wanted to kill him, he would have been dead long ago. At that time, Lin Yi was only a Mystic Late Phase, and the 3 Mystic Late Phase Peak Masters in front of him were beheaded in an instant. They didn't even know how they died. Let's go. Bingtang didn't care about the 3 corpses on the ground and ordered Little Qing. Yes. Little Qing got back into the car in front. Mrs. Tang and Mr. Tang were scared out of their wits. Little Qing, who looked like a gentle person, had killed 3 people with a wave of her hand. That. Just now. Mrs. Tang stuttered in fear. On the other hand, Xiao Ming, who had seen some of the world in the hidden Tang family, wasn't as flustered as Mother Tang. Holy Church, it's nothing, just 3 bandits, Little Qing said indifferently. Don't worry about them. Their deaths are not to be regretted. Oh, Mrs. Tang nodded, a little scared. They're from the ancient sects, it's inevitable for people to die in a fight. Tang Juqing was shocked as well, but he comforted her. On the other hand, Linny didn't feel anything. He just felt that it wasn't worth it to hire assassins to kill his people. It wasn't easy to train these 3 mystic late-phase peak masters, but they were killed in an instant. It was too tragic. He couldn't help but remember the 2 golden-class masters he met when he first came to Songshan. He'd pushed them down a ravine and killed them. Sihua and Zhao Qibing must have been crying their hearts out back then, right? There were assassins in charge of assassinations in the blood-clothed Yellow Spring sect, and naturally, there were people in charge of cleaning up the scene and disposing of the corpses. These people would usually wait for the signal from the assassin before cleaning up the scene, but this time, there was no signal. These people immediately felt that something was wrong and hurried to the scene of the incident. Sure enough, they did not see the corpse of the other party, but the 3 people on their side had been decapitated. They were dead. When the leader of these people saw this scene, he immediately called the higher-ups. This kind of situation had happened before, but this kind of situation where 3 people died at the same time was rare. How is it? Did you complete the mission? After the call was connected, a deep voice came from the other side. Brother Nung, the mission has failed. All 3 assassins are dead, and their heads are separated from their bodies. It seems like they were killed in one move. Judging from the scene, it's at least an Earth-rank master who did it. The leader briefly explained the situation without any emotion. They had seen this kind of thing many times. Even assassins would fail sometimes. Bring the corpses back. The man called Nung Bro ordered after a moment of silence. Yes. The leader hung up and ordered his men to move the corpses to a car far away and quickly left the scene. As for Lin Yi and the others, they were already close to the hidden Tang house's territory. So you're saying that the hidden Tang house invited Tang Yun's family because of you? They want to suck up to you, the sect master of the Ice Palace? Arriving in front of the hidden Tang's gate, Lin Yi looked at the imposing manor, stopped the car, and asked Bingtang, "What do you mean suck up to me? Is it that bad?" Bingtang blushed and said angrily, "Can't you watch your words? As long as you know what I mean." Lin Yi shrugged. Something like that. Bingtang was angered by Lin Yi and nodded, but it seems like Mom and Dad don't like the hidden Tang house. Auntie doesn't like them either, so I have to reconsider the relationship between the Ice Palace and the hidden Tang house. That's up to you. I don't have a good impression of them anyway. Lin Yi didn't like the family that almost threw Tang Yun away. If Tang Yun wasn't replaced by Uncle Da, Tang Yun would have frozen to death in the snow a long time ago. Lin Yi felt a little guilty towards the sky-class girl. After all, she had suffered in Tang Yun's place. If it weren't for her fake ice heart, she would have frozen to death a long time ago. There wouldn't be the sect master of the Ice Palace today. Let's see what Mom and Dad think. Bingtang nodded. You guys go in. Tang Yun, Xiao, and I won't be staying here. We'll be staying at a hotel outside. When is the birthday party? I'll come over then. Lin Yi didn't like the hidden Tang house and naturally didn't want to stay in their territory. The day after tomorrow there might be a lot of guests, Bingtang said. It's fine if you don't like living here. Bingtang didn't force him. To be honest, if Bingtang wasn't the master of the Ice Palace, she might throw a tantrum and not like the hidden Tang house at all. But since the Ice Palace chose the hidden Tang house as their eyes and ears, they could only maintain this relationship. Chapter 1661. After Rock Candy got off the car, Lin Yi brought Tang Yun and Xiao to a random hotel to settle down. The 3 then decided to walk around the town. They'd been living out in the open on the way here, and they didn't have anything good to eat. It was all fast food, so Lin Yi decided to have a good taste of the local delicacies. Xiao Xiao was a foodie, and she loved to eat this and that. Seeing that Lin Yi wanted to bring her out to eat, she was very happy. What do you want to eat? Lin Yi asked as he held Xiao Xiao's hand. I don't know, let's walk and see? Xiao Xiao said after some thought. And so, the three walked on the streets. It was a small town, but perhaps because of the hidden house Tang was here, it was very prosperous. Many restaurants were open at night, and there were all sorts of entertainment and business places. Tang Yin walked on Xiao Xiao's side, letting Xiao Xiao hold Lin Yi's hand while she held Xiao Xiao's. The two were Lin Yi's wives in name, but Lin Yi holding two beauties' hands was a little too eye-catching, so Tang Yin gave this opportunity to Xiao Xiao. 7 Xiao Xiao would return to the Ice Palace to continue her training after this birthday banquet, and she wouldn't have many chances to meet with Lin Yi. Tang Yin knew that she and Lin Yi had a long life ahead of them, so she didn't mind. This restaurant, right? Xiao Xiao pointed at a restaurant not far away. It looks like the local specialty barbecue. It looks pretty good. Let's go here then. Lin Yi didn't really care what they ate, as long as Xiao Xiao was happy. Tang Yin thought the same. The three walked towards the restaurant, and coincidentally, another group of people were walking towards the restaurant not far from Lin Yi's group. Young Master Yu, those two girls look pretty good. In that group, a blue-haired youth with a perverted look said to a bald youth. Oh, really? Really? The baldy called Young Master Yu was a little surprised. This wretched blue-haired man was a veteran in the entertainment field. He had seen countless women. If he said that a woman was not bad, then she was definitely not bad. So he hurriedly asked, where is he? It's over there. Blue Hair pointed to a place not far away. Holy Church, fuck. Young Master Yu widened his eyes and looked at the three people pointed out by Blue Hair. His eyes suddenly spewed red flames. Take a closer look. Who is he? Isn't it that guy called Lin Yi? The yellow hair was the first to react. Young Master Yu, we're not afraid of him today. Blue Hair is an expert at the peak of Earth stage. Let's kill him. I don't think it's a good idea to cause trouble in my uncle's territory. Young Master Yu was a little hesitant. He was here to attend Grandfather Tang's birthday banquet. If he were to cause trouble here, his uncle, the head of the household, would definitely not let him off easily. Furthermore, there was an important guest present. If he were to ruin the guest's mood because of this, he would be a sinner. But young Master Yu didn't want to let Lin Yi go just like that. This was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Under normal circumstances, the Earth-class masters of the hidden houses couldn't interfere in the battles of the common world. But this time, young Master Yu brought an Earth-class follower, because he was here to celebrate the hidden house of Yu's birthday. Although young Master Yu was the second young master, he still had a certain talent in alchemy. He could also refine some low-grade yellow-level pills, so he gathered a few subordinates around him. Although young Master Yu's alchemy skills weren't that great, there were pitifully few alchemists these days. Especially at the level of the hidden house and the aristocratic house. It was already good to be able to refine spiritual pills, let alone pills. So young Master Yu was arrogant. Being able to refine low-grade yellow-level pills wasn't something an ordinary person could do. Therefore, young Master Yu usually had the chance to refine a few kinds of elixirs that could increase his strength. Naturally, there were some rogue cultivators who gathered around him. Their purpose was to obtain some elixirs to cultivate and increase their cultivation. This blue-haired man was one of them. It was reasonable to say that an Earth Stage Master was a completely different character from a hooligan. In their eyes, a hooligan was the same as a scum. However, in order to cater to young Master Yu, they still dyed their hair the same color as a hooligan. What trouble? Our young Master Yu is going to pick up girls. Who said that he is going to cause trouble? The yellow hair suggested. At that time, if the other party's people cause trouble first, then it has nothing to do with us. In the territory of the hidden Tang family, if they bully our young Master Yu's people, we will make a move. This matter is reasonable no matter what. That makes sense. Young Master Yu nodded and patted the yellow hair's shoulder. It seems that you have studied with me in school for a few days. You have a lot of knowledge in your stomach. Let's go pick up girls. If that kid isn't happy first, then don't blame us for being impolite. Young Master Yu, the short chick in the middle seems to be Lin Yi's girlfriend. Let's not touch her first. Let's go pick up the one on the side first. That one is definitely not that kid's girlfriend. Otherwise, it would be somewhat wrong for us to hook up with his girlfriend. In this kind of place, we can't let others find fault. The yellow hair reminded. It just so happens that I like the one on the top. The one in the middle looks sneaky. One look and you can tell that she is a cunning girl. Just like that kid, full of evil tricks. The one on the side is pure and beautiful. Just my taste. Young master, you said. Blue hair, you have good eyesight. How many years has it been since I met such a beautiful girl? If I don't get her, my heart won't be at ease. I won't be able to sleep well at night. The closer they got, the more young master you felt that Tang Yin was incomparably beautiful. His heart was itching and he couldn't wait. The two groups of people walked to the entrance of the restaurant at almost the same time. It could be said that enemies were bound to meet on a narrow road. Young master Yu, on the other hand, took the lead and walked towards Tang Yin. With the blue hair, an early-stage Earth-class master, he felt very at ease. Lin Yi was just a peak late-stage Mystic class master. Killing him would be like playing with a toy. Earth class and peak late-stage Mystic class were two completely different realms. Don't think that it was just a difference of one level. In the end, the level was completely different. As long as the Earth class master wasn't too weak, defeating a peak late-stage Mystic class master was still very easy. Beauty, what a coincidence. We meet again. Young master Yu smiled and said to Tang Yin. Tang Yin was shocked by the sudden appearance of this bald head. She didn't know where this guy came from. Chapter 1662. Moreover, Tang Yin had never seen this person before. Now that they met again, when had they ever met before? Haha, did you forget? When we were in Songshan, we were at XX Square. Master Yu was an expert at picking up girls. He was good at making up lies. He saw Tang Yin and Lin Yi together, and guessed that Tang Yin was from Songshan, or at least knew Lin Yi. She must have been to Songshan, so he randomly mentioned a place in Songshan. 7 asterisk. Normally, people without good memories would be confused by his ambiguous answer. They would even wonder if they really knew this person, and if they had met him before. But Tang Yin had never been to XX Square before. It was very far from Songshan's first high. Before Tang Yin met Lin Yi, she helped her mother sell barbecue in her free time. How would she have time to play at XX Square? She hadn't been to that place since she met Lin Yi. So Tang Yin frowned and said faintly, "You got the wrong person, right? I've never seen you before." Of course, if it was a girl who was vain, when she saw young master use branded clothing, she might take advantage of him and say, "Ah, it's you." Then the two of them would start chatting and get what they needed. But Tang Yin was obviously not that kind of person. Even if she wasn't with Lin Yi, she wouldn't do such a thing, let alone when she was with Lin Yi. Holy Church, I'm not mistaken, it's definitely you. Master Yu smiled. At that time, I said I wanted to pursue you and gave you a BMW. You said to think about it. Did you forget? Master Yu continued to use his method of picking up girls, attacking with money. The hidden house Yu was a family of alchemists. Naturally, they were richer than normal hidden houses. Normal hidden houses had to consider where to get money from and think of ways to support a normal house to earn money for them. But the hidden house Yu didn't have to do that. They could earn a lot by selling elixirs. Are you done? Before Tang Yin could say anything, Lin Yi opened his mouth first. He looked at the baldy in front of him playfully. He didn't think that his last bowling ball wouldn't have turned him into a retard, but he still came here to show off. Lin Yi was a little puzzled. Was this guy looking for trouble? After suffering so many losses, he still dared to show up in front of him. Wasn't he afraid of getting beaten up again? However, when Lin Yi saw the followers behind him, he understood. So there was an Earth-class early-phase master following behind him. No wonder this kid was so cocky. He thought that this time, he would definitely be able to take him down. I say, bro, aren't you being a busybody? Although we have some grudges, I met an acquaintance here now. It doesn't affect you and your wife. Why are you in such a hurry? Young master Yu glanced at Lin Yi and said unhurriedly, "If you're done, you can get lost. Do you need me to give you a kick and let you go on a trip to space? Or do you want to play trapeze?" Lin Yi ignored young master Yu and warned him directly. Young master Yu couldn't help but be angry. I say, aren't you being too arrogant? Kid, this is the territory of the Hidden Tang family. Since you can come here, I'm afraid you're also a guest of the Hidden Tang family, right? I don't want to make things bigger. You know what's going on. To be honest, young master, you could roughly guess the purpose of Lin Yi's sudden appearance here. Old Master Tang's 80th birthday. Perhaps Lin Yi was also here on behalf of a relative, but it definitely wasn't a close relative. Because the relatives who were close to the Hidden Tang family were all in the Hidden Tang family's banquet hall. For example, his uncle and brother. Only the second young master of the family like him would come out to have fun. The slightly more important people were all eating in the banquet hall. So young master, you wasn't afraid of Lin Yi having some powerful background. Plus, he asked around before and didn't hear of any hidden house having such a person. So he was even less afraid of him. Lin Yi, honey, is this guy crazy? Xiao Xiao glanced at young master Yu and said to Lin Yi. Tang Yun sis said she hasn't seen him, and he's still talking to himself. Is he hallucinating? Why don't you treat him? I think so. Lin Yi nodded. If you want to treat him, then follow him. With that, Lin Yi ignored young master Yu and brought Xiao Xiao and Tang Yun into the restaurant. Lin Yi, Tang Yun. Young master Yu knew the names of these two. Tang Yun, quite a nice name. At this moment, young master Yu was even more confident. Since Xiao Xiao called Lin Yi honey, then she must be Lin Yi's girlfriend. Tang Yun was her sister, so it didn't have much to do with Lin Yi. If he went to pick up girls, he would be in the right. So, young master Yu didn't listen to Lin Yi's advice at all, and followed them again. Beauty Tang Yun, you really don't remember? If you don't like a BMW, then I can buy you a Lamborghini. Young master Yu was always willing to spend money on girls. He didn't have a lot of pocket money, but if he secretly refined some pills and sold them, it would be a lot of money. It seems like you really are sick. I really have to treat you. Lin Yi said as he took out a few needles and pierced young master Yu's body a few times. Young master Yu didn't even realize what was going on before his legs gave way and he knelt on the ground, unable to stand up. You. What did you do to me? Suddenly feeling that his legs had gone numb, Master Yu jumped in shock. Although he was also a practitioner, how could he be as fast as Lin Yi? So when Lin Yi made his move, he didn't even have time to react. I didn't do anything. I saw that you were a little hyperactive, and your legs didn't seem to listen to you. I told you to stop following me, but you still followed me, so I broke your legs. Lin Yi said faintly. Kid, what did you do to young Master Yu? Yellow and blue hair saw this scene too, but they didn't expect Lin Yi to do this. When they reacted, it was too late. They ran to the front, and young Master Yu was already kneeling. Kill him for me. Young Master Yu didn't expect Lin Yi to be so vicious. He crippled his legs in one move. Although he didn't know what trick the other party used, no matter what it was, young Master Yu was a little anxious. If he became disabled in the future, how could he pick up girls? Kid, what did you do to young Master Yu? You better heal young Master Yu quickly. Otherwise, don't blame me for being rude. Blue hair was more experienced. He saw that Lin Yi just used a few needles casually and young Master Yu's legs were crippled. Target = blank. Chapter 1663. This should be similar to the pressure point techniques in the martial arts world. There should be a way to deal with it, and it wouldn't really be a cripple. So he wanted Lin Yi to heal Master Yu's leg first, and then he'd teach Lin Yi a lesson. Maybe it's already broken. Lin Yi smiled. You're not polite? What do you mean by that? Don't talk to him. He just stabbed a few acupuncture points on my leg. My uncle can take care of it. Just kill this kid for me. Young Master Yu was an alchemist, so he had some knowledge in medical skills. His uncle was also proficient in the art of sealing acupoints, so he wasn't too worried. Moreover, there was a reason for this. If he killed Lin Yi, no one would say anything. Blue hair nodded. No problem, Master Yu. You can kill me? Lin Yi couldn't help but laugh. Just you? Yes, just me. Blue hair's Earth class early phase strength was immediately revealed. Kid, I heard that you're a mystic late phase peak? You think you're so strong, don't you? But what do you think now? Oh, Lin Yi responded faintly, and the aura of an Earth class burst out. Earth class, huh? Is it strong? I think I'm one too. Blue Hair's face changed. He didn't think that Lin Yi was an Earth class as well, and had the same strength as him. Of course, the ones who were even more shocked were the Yellow Hair and Master Yu. They looked at each other, and the Yellow Hair said with some fear, You hid your strength again? I didn't hide my strength. Lin Yi said faintly. 7 * impossible. When you fought me, you were only Mystic early phase, and when I saw you at the school gate, you were Mystic late phase. And when I saw you at the resort, you were Mystic late phase peak, and now you're Earth class early phase. The Yellow Hair said in disbelief. Can't I level up? Lin Yi looked at Blondie as if he was looking at a retard and said, I'm always leveling up. Nonsense, Yellow Hair said. How can you level up so quickly? Don't talk nonsense with him. I'll deal with him. Lan Mao felt that what Huang Mao said was meaningless. Even if Lin Yi used to be a Mystic early phase master, Lin Yi was now an Earth class early phase master, so he had to be careful. Fortunately, he had been famous for a long time. And if Lin Yi was really as he said, and had just broken through to Earth rank, then he also had hope of defeating Lin Yi. However, at this moment, he was no longer as confident as before. In a battle between Earth rank experts, not only did they have to rely on the difference in strength, other factors were also crucial. For example, the quality of one's cultivation method, the level of one's martial skills, one's combat experience, luck, and so on. A battle between Earth rank experts wasn't like Earth rank versus Mystic rank, where as long as there was a difference of one level, they would be able to defeat the other. This situation was common before Mystic rank, but after Mystic rank in Earth class, there was a watershed. You couldn't win just by relying on strength, unless the difference was huge. For example, Earth class late phase versus Earth class early phase, or even higher, Sky class versus Earth class early phase versus Earth class late phase peak, there was a huge difference. So he didn't have much confidence against Lin Yi, but he wasn't too worried either. You're also Earth class? I hope you won't disappoint me. Lan Mao's face turned serious. It's been a long time since I've fought someone of the same level as me. The Hidden House Association's restriction is really annoying. Now that I've met you, I hope you won't be a one-hit deal. Of course I'll do my best, you don't have to worry about that. Lin Yi smiled, but on the inside he was very nervous. This was his first time fighting an Earth class. Boss Yu from before didn't count at all. That guy was a coward, and after getting blasted by him once he was traumatized and didn't dare to fight him face to face anymore. What a joke. However, this Lan Mao in front of him wasn't that kind of person. He gave Lin Yi the feeling that he was very steady and deep, which didn't match his gangster look. This made Lin Yi feel an inexplicable pressure. Take out your weapon. Lan Mao looked at Lin Yi and said. Although young Master Yu told him to kill Lin Yi as soon as possible, the opponent was still a master on the same level as him, so he couldn't just ignore it. Weapon? I don't have a weapon, Lin Yi said faintly. Oh. Lan Mao paused, not expecting Lin Yi to say that. Looking at Lin Yi's expression, he wasn't sure if Lin Yi really didn't have a weapon, or if he was just pretending. Your technique doesn't need a weapon? However, there were some techniques that didn't need a weapon, and Lan Mao's technique had one that didn't need a weapon, so he didn't think it was too strange, and only asked. Technique? What technique? Lin Yi was a bit surprised. You don't know? Lan Mao paused and looked at Lin Yi strangely. Tell me. Lin Yi felt like he had overlooked something. He had just broken through to Earth class, so there were a lot of things he didn't know, but he didn't ask Rock Candy. Lin Yi could understand the weapon that Lan Mao was talking about, but Lin Yi didn't understand the technique. Haha, take this. Lan Mao didn't explain. He suddenly laughed and flew up. Both of his hands turned into eagle claws, and an inexplicable, goo-goo sound came out of his mouth. He shouted, Berserk Eagle Thunderclap Claw. Along with Lan Mao's shout, the true energy around Lan Mao's body suddenly turned into a faint light blue color, and his opponent's claws seemed to have really turned into eagle claws, wrapped by a faintly discernible true energy. Under the effect of light refraction, it looked especially strange. Lin Yi's brows slightly twisted, and he immediately understood what he had overlooked. He also knew what a technique was. It turned out that this Lan Mao not only cultivated inner force, but he also cultivated martial techniques. However, when Lin Yi was in the mystic class, he had never heard of anyone cultivating martial techniques. Even physical experts rarely had special martial techniques. Previously, when Lan Mao asked him what martial technique it was, and Lin Yi expressed that he didn't know, Lan Mao was obviously very surprised. This meant that this martial technique should be a very common thing, and he didn't know. The only possibility was that this martial technique could only be cultivated by Earth-class experts and above, and Mystic-class experts couldn't cultivate it. However, in the blink of an eye, Lan Mao's opponent's claws had already attacked Lin Yi. Chapter 1664. Lin Yi suddenly felt an extremely overbearing aura pressing down on him, making him feel like he was suffocating. Lin Yi secretly cursed his bad luck. He didn't ask Crystal Candy about the Earth stage beforehand. He almost suffered a big loss this time. Looking at the pair of eagle claws, Lin Yi didn't dare to face it head-on. He could only quickly dodge backwards. If it wasn't for Lin Yi's qinggong, he would have been caught by the blue-haired man. Even so, the blue-haired man's claw wind swept across Lin Yi's face. Lin Yi's face suddenly felt like it was being cut by a carving knife. Phew! Lin Yi touched his cheek. There was immediately a bloodstain on his hand. It was obvious that he was bleeding. But Lin Yi secretly felt lucky. If he was caught by the blue-haired man, he would definitely be injured. The battle had just started. Lin Yi already suffered a big loss. This made him very embarrassed. Martial arts. He didn't have any martial arts. This was the main reason why Lin Yi suffered a loss. When Lin Yi was in the mystic stage, he often relied on his own tyrannical strength to fight with the opponent. There was no trick to this. Whoever had a higher cultivation would be more powerful. But now it seemed to be completely different. The opponent didn't fight you head-on, but used techniques to win. But now, even if Lin Yi knew the gap between him and the opponent, there was no other way. Even if he learned martial arts now, it would be too late. 7 * Holy Hall. Berserk Eagle Thunderclap Claw, Second Style, Divine Eagle Tail Swing. The blue-haired man didn't give Lin Yi a chance to breathe at all. At the same time when Lin Yi barely dodged the attack, he made a second move towards Lin Yi, only to see his body suddenly swaying in the air, like a black lightning, with a huge wind formed by true qi attacking Lin Yi again. Lin Yi cried bitterly in his heart. This was simply a scam. The treatment of individual cultivators was different from that of cultivators from clans and sections. He had suffered a great loss this time. However, thinking was just thinking. Lin Yi really had to face it now. He couldn't just admit defeat, right? Not only would that be too shameful, but what would happen to Tang Yin if she admitted defeat? Was it possible to let young Master Yu bring it back? Therefore, no matter what, Lin Yi couldn't compromise. He had already come to this point, so he could only brace himself and fight on. Haha, kid, you just broke through to the Earth stage. You haven't learned any martial skills yet, right? Blue Hair laughed out loud, but the eagle claw in his hand wasn't slow at all. It directly clawed at Lin Yi's head. Martial skills. Of course I learned them. Lin Yi naturally couldn't let Blue Hair know that he didn't know anything. If that was the case, then Blue Hair would be even more unscrupulous. Then wouldn't it be a one-sided abuse? Therefore Lin Yi could only lie to him first. Looking at Blue Hair above him, Lin Yi clenched his teeth and activated the art of dragon mastery. He concentrated all of his strength on his right fist and suddenly rushed upwards, ignoring Blue Hair's eagle claw. Lin Yi thought that if he was caught, then he was caught. As long as he didn't grab his vital parts, then there would be no problem. He would slowly recover and give this Blue Hair a destructive blow first. If he didn't fight head-on, then he would fight head-on. If he fought head-on a few times, he could heal himself, but Blue Hair couldn't. If he used too many moves that would hurt both sides, then the one who would suffer in the end would still be Blue Hair. Rising Dragon Fist. Lin Yi didn't know anything about moves or martial skills. He couldn't think of a name in a short amount of time, but in order to trick Blue Hair, Lin Yi suddenly remembered when he was playing Street Fighter 4 with Meng Yao and Yushu. There was a move called Rising Dragon Fist, and Lin Yi's current movement was very similar to Rising Dragon Fist. His right fist punched towards Blue Hair in the air. It was somewhat similar, so Lin Yi directly gave it this name. When Lin Yi said the name Rising Dragon Fist, Blue Hair clearly froze. He had never heard of this martial skill before, but looking at Lin Yi's move, it was extremely familiar. He suddenly remembered that when he went to the arcade with Master Yu a while ago, the characters there seemed to use this move. In reality, there were people who used this move. Originally, Blue Hair's Berserk Eagle's thunderclap hand was very sharp, especially the second move, Divine Eagle's tail. It was aimed directly at the top of Lin Yi's head, but because of Lin Yi's rising dragon fist, it made him hesitate. He didn't know how to deal with it. As a result, his claw didn't claw Lin Yi's head, but grabbed onto Lin Yi's shoulder. In a split second, 5 bloody holes appeared on Lin Yi's shoulder. Fresh blood flowed out in an instant, and Lin Yi's fist also stuck close to Blue Hair's body, hitting Blue Hair's face. The powerful force made Blue Hair's body fly up along with Lin Yi's powerful force. Then, he landed heavily on the ground not far away and spat out a mouthful of fresh blood. However, although Blue Hair looked like he spat out blood and his face was swollen, it seemed to be serious. In fact, it didn't cause too much damage. The blood he spat out was only bleeding from his mouth from Lin Yi's punch. It wasn't an internal injury, and the swelling on his face was just an external injury. With an expert of the same level, Lin Yi just punched hard. He didn't hit the vital part, so naturally he couldn't do anything to Blue Hair. So it looked like both of them were injured, but in fact, it was Lin Yi who suffered some hidden losses. Berserk Eagle's Thunderclap Claw, a very powerful martial art. Lin Yi pretended to be indifferent and said faintly. In fact, he was stalling for time. Lin Yi channeled the art of dragon mastery to heal the injury on his shoulder. This claw was quite serious. Lin Yi's shoulder blade was cracked by Blue Hair. So even if Lin Yi didn't heal the wound, he had to heal the cracked bone. Otherwise, it would affect the flexibility of Lin Yi's arm, and he would suffer a great loss. Rising Dragon Fist? You call that a martial art? After truly tasting the power of Lin Yi's Rising Dragon Fist, Blue Hair immediately snorted. He thought it was some powerful move, but it turned out to be just an ordinary punch. There was nothing special about it. It was plain and ordinary. It was just a bit like the Rising Dragon Fist in the game. In fact, it was just for show. It looked good but was useless. Thinking back to Lin Yi's reaction to the martial art, Blue Hair had a rough idea. Lin Yi definitely didn't know any martial art, but he didn't want to admit defeat. So he imitated a move from the game and came up with the Rising Dragon Fist to scare himself. Otherwise, if it weren't for the fact that Blue Hair was hesitant about the unknown name of the Rising Dragon Fist, he believed that he would have grabbed Lin Yi's skull and killed him on the spot. Chapter 1665. Of course, this was just his assumption. Even if Lin Yi didn't make a move, he'd definitely be able to dodge the Blue Hair's claw. But dodging like this wasn't a solution. He had to face it head-on. The school beauty's personal expert, of course. There's an even more powerful move in a bit. After Lin Yi healed the injury on his shoulder blade, he began the next step of his plan. No pop-up window chi, an even more powerful move? Blue Hair blanked, but he wasn't in a hurry to fight Lin Yi. From his point of view, Lin Yi was just a practitioner who had just risen to Earth class and hadn't learned any martial arts yet. Blue Hair was 100% sure that he could defeat this kind of opponent, so he didn't mind playing around with Lin Yi a bit. One had to know that as an Earth-class expert, stepping on another Earth-class expert was a very refreshing thing to do. This kind of opportunity was quite hard to come by. Yes, it's called Vacuum Wave Punch, Lin Yi said. This was a move from Street Fighter IV, and Lin Yi casually used it to buy time for himself. Vacuum Wave Punch? The blue-haired man stared blankly for a moment before laughing out loud. I say, have you become stupid from playing games? Vacuum Wave Punch? Do you think you're playing Street Fighter? Oh, I learned this move from the game. You guessed it right. Lin Yi said. Congratulations, but there's no reward. Ha 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 ha. Then come, let me see what you've learned. Now Blue Hair was completely sure that Lin Yi was bullshitting. He didn't know any martial arts at all. The so-called martial arts were just something he put together at the last minute to scare people. This move is very powerful. This move is very powerful. In the game, it's usually called an ultimate move. You have to be careful. It won't be good if it injures you. You said it yourself, you're here to celebrate the birthday of the hidden Tang family's elder Tang. And so are we, so, you know what I mean. Lin Yi didn't know why he was wasting time, but he needed time, so he had to waste time. Oh. The blue-haired man was speechless. What do you mean by this? Could it be that he wanted to beg for mercy? It's fine if you beg for mercy. Just cure young Master Yu's leg, and leave your girl to us. Crawl under my crotch and we'll let this matter go. Oh, no wonder the master said that, like master, like servant. The master has delusions, and so do you. Are you indulging in fantasies? Begging for mercy? I think it's more like you begging me for mercy. I'm reminding you out of goodwill. I'm afraid that I'll kill you when I use my ultimate skill. You still don't know what's going on? Linny said. As for the crotch, leave it to your young Master Yu. He happens to be lying on the ground. His leg is broken, so it's more convenient for him to crawl. Why yeah. Blue-haired man, kill this kid for me. The two girls beside him, will split them. Young Master Yu was fuming after listening to Lin Yi's words. However, he was also waiting for Lin Yi to be so arrogant. This way, he would have an excuse to kill Lin Yi. Lin Yi was the one who started it, and it had nothing to do with him. Don't worry, young Master Yu. Blue-haired man nodded, then stood up and made a very strange posture in the air. He said, "Let me see your vacuum Hadouken. However, before that, I want to let you have a taste of my power. Berserk Eagle Thunderbolt Claw, Berserk Lightning." After saying that, blue-haired man rushed toward Lin Yi at a very fast speed. His body was like a berserk eagle, like a comet, rushing toward Lin Yi. With this kind of speed and this kind of power, ordinary people wouldn't have a good time if they were hit. However, Lin Yi didn't dodge. Instead, he clasped his wrists together and made a very strange posture. He shouted, "Vacuum Hadouken!" Boom! A loud sound, like a meteorite colliding, suddenly set off a monstrous wave of chi not far in front of Lin Yi, and the center of the collision was the body of blue-haired man. Along with this loud sound, blue-haired man's body suddenly bent like a bow. He flew out like a big shrimp. The clothes in front of his body were all blown into pieces, and his chest was a bloody mess, as if he had been hit by something. It was very scary. Bang! Blue-haired man's body crashed to the ground. He struggled a few times on the ground, and finally stood up shakily. Vacuum! Hadouken? Blue-haired man looked at Lin Yi in disbelief, as if he was looking at a monster. Before, when Lin Yi used the Rising Dragon Fist, blue-haired man didn't think too much about it. He thought that Lin Yi didn't know any martial arts, but in order to put on a show, he used the Rising Dragon Fist. Moreover, the power wasn't very strong. Therefore, blue-haired man didn't pay much attention to the big move that Lin Yi said. He thought that Lin Yi was deliberately tricking him. After all, words like big move were common words used by people who played games. How many people who practiced martial arts would tell their opponents that they were going to use big moves? Wasn't that too childish? Later, when Lin Yi said vacuum Hadouken, blue-haired man didn't even put it in his eyes. He knew that this vacuum Hadouken was the same as the Rising Dragon Fist. They were both moves from Street Fighter, and he was 100% sure that Lin Yi was simply tricking him into using it. But what he didn't expect was that Lin Yi's vacuum Hadouken seemed to have the same effect as the vacuum Hadouken in the game. With just one move, he was sent flying, and his chest was injured. He could feel that a few of his ribs were broken, and he suffered serious internal injuries. He couldn't believe that Lin Yi's moves were actually his martial arts. Could it be that he learned martial arts from the game? But disbelief was disbelief. The truth was in front of him, and blue-haired man had no choice but to believe it. Yes, there's still a third move called Tornado Kick. Lin Yi nodded and said seriously, but in his heart, he was secretly regretting that he didn't have enough time. The energy bomb he condensed was too small, and it didn't cause too much damage to blue-haired man. However, to be able to condense such an energy bomb for so long, Lin Yi was already very satisfied. To be able to suddenly turn the tide of the battle under a situation where he didn't know any martial arts at all, and turn defeat into victory, this was already not easy. If Lin Yi didn't use such trickery and made up a few specious martial arts names, blue-haired man wouldn't have been so easily injured by him. Now it seemed that blue-haired man had obviously changed from his previous doubts to believing Lin Yi's words. From his point of view, this move of Lin Yi's vacuum Hadouken was really similar to the vacuum Hadouken in the game. It was a chi punch out of thin air. Chapter 1665. Gift of Avila Poo. When blue-haired man heard Lin Yi's third move, He couldn't take it anymore and vomited blood. So this guy really learned the moves from the Street Fighter game. Blue-haired man's heart couldn't take it anymore. He was angry and regretful. If he had believed this guy earlier, then he wouldn't have been so stupid as to get hit by the vacuum Hadouken head-on. The result was great. He was seriously injured, and Lin Yi seemed to be fine. Holy Church, even if blue-haired man wasn't injured, in front of Lin Yi's strange martial arts, he still didn't have the confidence to win. So now he no longer had the intention to fight recklessly with Lin Yi. He looked at Lin Yi and said, "Good move, but the mountain doesn't move the water. There's still a long way to go. We'll meet again someday." "No need, we'll meet again someday. Don't leave today," Lin Yi said as he walked towards blue-haired man. From Lin Yi's perspective, this blue-haired man was definitely a big threat to him. As for Lin Yi's martial arts, he couldn't be any clearer than he already was. What kind of martial arts was there? It was just something he made up. Maybe this blue-haired man would go back and think things through, then come back for revenge. How could Lin Yi give him that chance? This guy was different from Boss Yu. Boss Yu was scared after being beaten by him, but this guy, according to what he said, would come back for revenge in the future. How could Lin Yi let him go? Let this guy go back. The Hidden House Yu was also a family that was proficient in medicine and elixir making. Maybe he would recover soon and come back to cause trouble. So Lin Yi didn't plan to let him go back at all. As for the others, they weren't the people involved, and they were just watching from the sidelines. It was impossible for them to figure out what he was capable of. Even if they went back and told others that he knew the Rising Dragon Fist and Hadouken, they'd only think it was weird. They wouldn't be able to figure out what Lin Yi's true strength was. "Kid, I'm from the Hidden House Yu, and I'm an important guest of the Hidden House Tang. You better think clearly before you make a move. Don't get yourself into trouble." Blue-haired man didn't think that Lin Yi didn't plan on letting him go. He was a little scared. He was aware of his injuries, and in his current state, fighting Lin Yi head-on would only lead to death. As for the yellow-haired man and the others, they wouldn't be of much help at all. A wise man knows better than to fight when the odds are against him. Blue Hair had no choice but to threaten Lin Yi. Lin Yi, on the other hand, was the kind of person who wasn't afraid of threats. The Hidden House Yu, in Lin Yi's eyes, was strong, but not to the point where he would tremble in fear. He had already provoked the Hidden House Zhao, the Hidden House Pai, and the Hidden House Yu. There was also the Golden Clock Gate. He was beaten to death by their master. At this time, why would he be afraid of the Hidden House Yu? Although the Hidden House Yu's power was stronger, blue-haired man was just a follower of the Hidden House Yu. Lin Yi was afraid that blue-haired man would figure out the key point and find trouble with him, so it was better to find trouble with blue-haired man first. "Oh, then I won't kill you since we're here to celebrate the birthday of the Hidden House Tang's elder. However, the death penalty is unavoidable, but you can't escape punishment," Lin Yi said faintly. "If I let you go like this, how would I lose face?" Blue-haired man was relieved after listening to Lin Yi's words. As long as he didn't kill him on the spot, there wouldn't be a problem. The Hidden House Yu had a lot of excellent medical skills. After he went back, he could slowly recover, so he wasn't nervous anymore. He said, "How about I break one of my arms? There's no need to be so troublesome." Lin Yi had already walked in front of blue-haired man. Suddenly, he reached out and covered blue-haired man's head. A compressed chi entered blue-haired man's head. Blue-haired man only heard a muffled sound of thunder in his ear. And then he didn't know anything else. Lin Yi only blasted the nerves and meridians in blue-haired man's brain. Unless it was someone like Lin Yi who could repair it, blue-haired man would definitely become an idiot for the rest of his life. Young master, you didn't know that blue-haired man had become an idiot, but at this moment, he looked at Lin Yi with resentment. His eyes were filled with unwillingness and anger. Three times in a row, he suffered a big loss in the hands of this guy. This made young Master Yu's heart extremely sullen. Moreover, the pretty girl beside Lin Yi also made his heart itch. It wasn't that young Master Yu hadn't seen the world, but he had never seen such a pure and beautiful girl like Tang Yun. Even if he had seen someone with similar looks, their temperament was much worse. How could those girls with makeup in the brothel compare to Tang Yun? So while young Master Yu swore in his heart to teach Lin Yi a lesson, he also swore to get Tang Yun. Lin Yi brought Tang Yun and Xiao Xiao into the restaurant. while blue-haired man stood there blankly, not moving an inch. The yellow-haired man helped young Master Yu up, and the purple-haired man said to blue-haired man, "What are you still doing here? Young Master Yu left, hurry up and leave." However, blue-haired man didn't move an inch. The purple-haired man frowned and pushed blue-haired man. But blue-haired man fell to the ground, scaring the purple-haired man. What's going on? Young Master Yu, blue-haired man. As he spoke, the purple-haired man quickly checked blue-haired man's breathing, and found that blue-haired man's breathing was normal. He immediately became suspicious, not knowing what happened to blue-haired man. If blue-haired man fainted, blue-haired man's eyes were still open. But if he didn't faint, he still didn't speak and didn't move an inch. "Don't worry about him first, let's carry him back first. Don't embarrass yourself here." Young Master Yu looked at the crowd nearby and felt his face turn hot. He was, after all, the second young master of the hidden house Yu, and now he suffered such a huge loss. It was a huge humiliation. Yes, the purple-haired man quickly dragged blue-haired man into the business car with the others, and then hurriedly brought young Master Yu back to the hidden house Tang. However, the hidden house Tang was having a family banquet, and young Master Yu's uncle was in the banquet hall. Although young Master Yu wanted to vent his grievances, he could only wait in the guest room for his uncle and aunt to come back. Tang Juqing and Wang Yujie sat next to Xiao Ming, looking very reserved. This was their first time coming to this kind of occasion. When had they ever eaten in a banquet hall of a big family like this before? Grandpa Tang saw that Tang Juqing and Mrs. Tang were like ordinary citizens, and he let out a sigh of relief. These people should be easy to deal with and easy to satisfy, so he quickly gave Boss Tang a look. Chapter 1666. If he wanted to give something as a gift, it would naturally be best if it didn't have a name. If it already had a name, then was it a loan or a gift? Therefore, eldest brother Tang specifically found a newly opened high-end villa district and bought a villa. It wasn't far from here, only a few dozen kilometers away. No pop-up window chi this. How can I accept this? Tang Juqing was at a loss. He didn't expect the hidden Tang family to give him such a big gift. Although Tang Juqing knew that the hidden Tang family was trying to please him because he was Bing Tong's biological father, he didn't dare to accept such an expensive gift. Mrs. Tang was furious when she heard Tang Juqing's words. She glared at him and kicked him. Then, she stood up and took the villa keys and the folder from eldest brother Tang's hands. "What's there to be embarrassed about?" Big brother Tang said it himself. "We're all family, and it's a greeting gift. If you don't accept it, you're not giving him face. Plus, they're just giving us a house. It's nothing to the hidden Tang family." "No. I mean, we already have a house in Songshan. It's so far away, and we can only come here a few times a year. Wouldn't it be a waste?" Tang Juqing was incoherent after being scolded by Mrs. Tang. He didn't know how to explain himself. "That's true. It's quite far. I know what you mean. We don't have a car. It would be convenient if we had one," Mrs. Tang said as she returned the keys to eldest brother Tang. She said with some regret, "Big brother, thank you for your kindness. But we don't have a car. It's not convenient for us to go back and forth." Eldest brother Tang didn't know what to say. Was this Mrs. Tang someone who hadn't seen the world? She was simply ruthless. Although she said she wanted to return the keys, her words revealed one thing. That was, their house was too far away, and they didn't have a car. It would be inconvenient for them to come here. She was asking for a car from him. Damn, isn't she too greedy? Ahem. Grandfather Tang saw that his eldest son was stunned and didn't say a word. He immediately became anxious. If they wanted a car, couldn't they just buy one for them? Now the hidden Tang family's main point was that even money couldn't buy rock candy. "Yes, we're missing a car. Sister-in-law, tell me what car you're interested in, and I'll call someone to buy it for you," eldest brother Tang immediately said after being reminded by grandfather Tang. Hearing her mother's blackmail of eldest brother Tang's words, Bing Tang couldn't help but laugh. Her mother was really a genius. She suddenly remembered what Tang Yun told her that night about her mother. She sighed. Her mother had suffered for most of her life. Being greedy wasn't a bad thing. With Bing Tong's current financial resources, it was easy for her to give Mrs. Tang 100 million to spend. Now that she saw her mother racking her brains to get more money, Bingtang couldn't help but feel sad. She quickly said, "Mom, I'll buy you a car." "You damn child." Mrs. Tang was furious when she heard Bingtang's words. "Do I need you to buy it? If I want a car, Linny can afford it. Am I not trying to extort more from Tang De Tu?" She couldn't help but say angrily, "Isn't it the same as you buying it? Isn't it the same as slapping her face? Can't she afford it?" Bingtang was speechless. Did she buy the wrong car for her? She didn't know how her sister survived all these years. She had such a wonderful mother. Fortunately, she only enjoyed the feeling of family affection occasionally. If she stayed here all year round, Bingtang felt that she would go crazy. "Yes, how can we let you spend money here?" Eldest brother Tang thought. It seemed that Mrs. Tang and Bingtang had a good relationship. Otherwise, who would dare say that Bingtang was a damn child? Then he would be a damn child. But at this moment, Bingtang didn't speak. It was enough to prove the relationship between Bingtang and Mrs. Tang. "I heard that there's a car called Bugatti. It seems pretty good. I have to reserve it. How about that one?" Mrs. Tang said after thinking about it. "What?" Eldest brother Tang was surprised. He didn't hear it clearly. He was usually focused on cars and didn't know much about cars. If it was a Mercedes-Benz or a BMW, he would know, but if it was a top-tier sports car, he really didn't know. "It's just a car. I quite like it. How about I buy it myself?" Mrs. Tang said. "That's fine. You buy it yourself. I will give you a card when the time comes. Tell me how much it costs and I will transfer the money to you." Eldest brother Tang didn't mind. He thought to himself, how much could a car cost? Letting Mrs. Tang buy it herself would save him a lot of trouble. Grandfather Tang didn't know much about sports cars, so naturally, he didn't know how much they cost, so he didn't say anything. Only Tang Yuyu's mouth twitched as he looked at Mother Tang. He felt a little sad for his father. "It's over, this is bad." Eldest brother Tang didn't know the price of Bugatti, but Tang Yuyu did. He had heard people talk about this car when he interacted with the other hidden family's heirs. He heard that there were only 3 of them in the world, and each one cost 25 million. It was the most expensive car in the world. Mrs. Tang knew about this car purely by chance. She heard the grandson and classmate of the old lady who sold watermelons downstairs talking about cars. They talked about this world-class sports car. It was one of the most expensive cars in the world. At first, Mrs. Tang was shocked. A car cost 25 million? So Mrs. Tang remembered the name. She didn't expect it to come in handy. It seemed that gossiping had its benefits. Otherwise, if she didn't know about this car, she would just randomly mention a Mercedes-Benz or a BMW. How could she get so much money? "I think the car costs 25 million. I don't know if I can get it, but it doesn't matter. You can give me 50 million. Including the purchase tax and insurance, it should be enough. But just to be safe, you can give me 100 million. Mrs. Tang said. She could tell that eldest brother Tang was trying to please Rock Candy. Rock Candy was his daughter. If he didn't take advantage of her now, when would he? 100 million? Ha! Eldest brother Tang nearly rolled his eyes. Buying a villa last time cost him almost 100 million. Now she wanted to buy a car for another 100 million? Did she think her house was a bank? Even the landlord didn't have any surplus food. Although his family was a hidden family, their annual income wasn't much. Now 200 million was gone in an instant. She was spending money like water. Grandpa Tang's eyebrows twitched. Even he had to admit that this woman was ruthless. Chapter 1667. Tang Big Bro didn't lose his composure after all. He took a few deep breaths before he said, "Okay, I'll ask someone to transfer 100 million to sister-in-law tomorrow. You can go and book that car." The banquet ended. Mrs. Tang held the keys and bank card in her hands. The more she looked at them, the more she liked them. She was humming happily. Looking at her mother, Bing Tang really didn't know what to say. However, she really admired her mother's negotiation skills. In the future, if the Ice Palace wanted to cooperate with others, she would let Mrs. Tang negotiate directly to ensure the greatest benefit. "Sai, you have to take the car and the house. Won't you be causing trouble for Tang Tang when the time comes?" Tang Juqing thought more. "You have taken advantage of them. When the time comes, won't Bing Tang have to pay for it?" It's just a small amount of money. It's nothing. Bing Tang was afraid that her father would worry, so she quickly said. Moreover, the Ice Palace's style of doing things was like this. They didn't force you. If you want to give it, then give it. If you don't want to, then don't. Wasn't the Ice Palace's trial deposit like this? Bing Tang wouldn't make any promises to the hidden Tang family for 200 million. You see, since Tang Tang said so, it's definitely fine. Mrs. Tang said. Tomorrow I'll find an agent to sell this house. After old Master Tang's birthday we'll leave. Ah. Sell it. Tang Jiqing was even more dumbfounded. Why does this house still want to be sold? If you don't want to sell it, keep it and have children. Who would come here to live for no reason? Do you really think I want to buy a car? Our new house is doing well. Why would we come here? Mrs. Tang said. When the time comes, we'll take the money and go back to enjoy life. I'm also a rich woman. Ha! Bing Tang heard her mother's words and couldn't help but laugh. Her mother was really humorous. At the same time, in the room of the hidden Tang family, young Master Yu was lying on the bed. He looked painfully and carefully at Uncle Yu Zhentian and Aunt Yu Xiaoxin who entered the door. What the hell happened? How did such a big incident happen? Who did you get into a conflict with? I just attended a banquet. How did it become like this when I came back? Yu family's eldest son, Yu Zhentian, was very annoyed. Wasn't his nephew too good at causing trouble? Not only did he cause trouble, but he was also beaten up like this. The hidden Yu family's face was completely lost. Alright, big brother, let's not talk about Xiaohu for now. Let's ask him what's going on first. Yu Xiaoxin waved her hand. She doted on Yu Coiling Tiger, also known as young Master Yu, even more than Yu Zhentian's son. This was also the reason why Yu Zhentian did not bring his son, but Yu Coiling Tiger this time. However, he didn't expect that this tiger right was simply a troublemaker. As soon as he arrived, he had a conflict with someone. Uncle, Auntie, don't blame me. You have to stand up for me. Yu Panhu said with a bitter face. You guys went to eat, and we also wanted to go out for some food, so we went out. At the entrance of a restaurant, I met an acquaintance. Actually, it was a girl I liked, so I went to greet her, but her brother-in-law stopped me. He even said arrogantly that he wanted me to get lost. I thought that I was a member of the hidden Yu family, and I was here to attend the hidden Tang family's birthday banquet. I had to keep a low profile and not be too high profile, so I ignored him. In the end, he directly attacked and crippled my nephew's legs. Are you telling the truth? You're not lying? Yu Zhentian looked at Yu Coiling Tiger and asked with a frown. The people around me can testify. Uncle, you can ask them. Although Yu Coiling Tiger's words were somewhat embellished, they were generally correct. It was just that Tang Yun wasn't an acquaintance of his, but no one could testify in this regard. Master, second young Master Yu is right. The situation at the beginning was indeed like this. That person was incomparably arrogant, and directly crippled second young Master Yu's legs. The purple hair couldn't stand it anymore, and was ready to teach him a lesson, but he didn't expect that he wasn't his opponent. Now, I don't know what happened to the purple hair, but it's like he's possessed and he's not moving at all. Yellow Hair quickly explained. What? The purple hair is an early-stage Earth-class master, and he wasn't his opponent? Yu Zhentian was stunned, and the expression on his face changed. That person is also an early-stage Earth-class master, and his martial arts skills seem to be very high, so. Yellow Hair's level was too low, and he couldn't practice martial arts at all, so he didn't know much about martial arts. This wasn't something a golden-class master like him needed to understand. Earth-class master. He's actually an Earth-class master. What's that person's name? Where did he come from? Is he also here to celebrate the Tang family's birthday? Yu Zhentian pondered and asked. That person is called Lin Yi, and the girl I know is called Tang Yin. Lin Yi is Tang Yin's brother-in-law. Yu Panhu said. He doesn't seem to be from an aristocratic family. What? Before Yu Zhentian could say anything, Yu Xiaoxin exclaimed first. What's wrong, little sister? Do these people have a strong background? Yu Zhentian saw his sister's reaction and his heart sank. If these people really had a strong background, then they might have suffered for nothing. Moreover, it was hard to say whether they would find trouble with him or not. I'm not sure about that, Lin Yi. I've never heard of him, but this Tang Yin, she has a strong background. Yu Xiaoxin couldn't help but show a trace of hatred when she mentioned Tang Yin. She's that Xiaoming's biological daughter. What? Xiaoming's daughter? Yu Zhentian was stunned. Then isn't she the sister of the Ice Palace Master? That's her. Yu Xiaoxin said coldly. Back then, I should have just strangled her to death, and there wouldn't have been so much trouble. Luckily, she's Xiaoming's daughter, so it's not a big problem. The main thing is who are her sister and brother-in-law. Her brother-in-law is actually an Earth-class master? From what I know, she only grew up in a commoner's family. How could she know a cultivator? That's hard to say, but if it's really like what Little Tiger said, then we're in the right. The other party attacked first. We have no responsibility for this. Yu Xiaoxin said. Moreover, the other party has the support of the Ice Palace. Don't we have the support of the Heavenly Elixir sect? Didn't the envoy from the Heavenly Elixir sect say that he was here to help us? Yu Zhentian nodded after hearing his sister's words. Indeed, if it was really like what Yu Panhu said, then the Yu family couldn't be blamed. It was the other party who didn't give them face, and they were too overbearing. He was the victim. Panhu, are you telling the truth? You're not lying? Yu Zhentian asked. Chapter 1668. Very strange, uncle. How could I lie? This is a huge matter. Yu Panhu said quickly. But although our Yu family also has the support of an ancient sect, they won't help us go against the Ice Palace for such a small matter. The other party's background can't be underestimated. Yu Zhentian sighed and said. At most, they won't look for trouble with each other. We can only suffer a loss. When Yu Panhu heard that the other party was related to the Ice Palace, he knew that his uncle wouldn't help him. Even if his family had the support of an ancient sect like the Heavenly Elixir sect, they wouldn't go against the Ice Palace for such a small matter. That wasn't realistic. But Yu Coiling Tiger wasn't willing to be taken advantage of. Thinking of Tang Yun's beautiful appearance and the powerful background behind her, Yu Coiling Tiger's eyes suddenly turned, and a plan came to his mind. Aunt Tang Yun and I can be considered old acquaintances. I like her. Do you think it's possible to let Uncle decide and betroth her to me? This way, this can be considered as turning hostility into friendship. Our Yu family won't suffer a loss in face either. It'll become a marriage on top of a family. What happened before will be a complete misunderstanding. How about it? After Yu Panhu heard about Tang Yun's background, his original plan of playing around was immediately thrown to the back of his head. What he was thinking now was that if he could marry Tang Yun, then he'd be amazing. First, Tang Yun was the sister of the Ice Palace sect master. Second, Tang Yun was his uncle's daughter. This meant that he would have the support of both the Hidden Tang family and the Ice Palace. With such a powerful background, his position in the Hidden Yu family would definitely skyrocket. As for whether Tang Yun had a boyfriend or not, he didn't consider it. He felt that if Tang Yun had a boyfriend, she'd definitely bring him. She wouldn't be with her sister and brother-in-law. That was why he made this request without hesitation. Yu Coiling Tiger's request stunned Yu Zhentian and Yu Xiaoxin. Both of them instantly weighed the pros and cons of this matter in their hearts. Of course, letting Boss Tang's daughter marry Yu Panhu was a good thing. This way, the Hidden Yu family and the Hidden Tang family would be more closely connected and strengthen their cooperation. But what Yu Zhentian was afraid of was Tang Yun's other background, Rock Candy's sister. This background made him feel that his son's position as the young master of the Hidden Yu family was threatened. If Yu Panhu really married Tang Yun, and had the support of the Ice Palace, then what would he do if he wanted to compete for the position of the Hidden Yu family? As for Yu Xiaoxin, she had the same thoughts as Yu Zhentian. However, she only thought about the benefits. As for who the young master of the Hidden Yu family was, it had nothing to do with her. After pondering for a long time, Yu Zhentian decided to accept Yu Panhu's suggestion. Even if Yu Panhu had the support of the Ice Palace, it would be useless. The Hidden Yu family was a hidden family that mainly focused on alchemy. Their main supporter was the ancient Heaven Elixir sect. They favored his son Yu Panlong. So with the support of the ancient Heaven Elixir sect, it would be logical for his son to become the next Hidden Yu family's master. Although Yu Panhu's position would increase, he would at most enter the Elders' Council. Little sister, I think Coiling Tiger's suggestion is not bad. Our Hidden Yu family, and the hidden Tang family are in-laws. Now, if Coiling Tiger marries Tang Yin, it will be a good thing. Yu Zhentian made a decision. I think so too. Then I'll talk to eldest brother Tang about this in the evening, and let him announce Xiaohu's marriage at the old master's birthday banquet. Yu Xiaoxin nodded and agreed. Thank you, uncle and auntie. Yupan who was overjoyed. This way he had regained some face. If he married Tang Yin, then everything before was just a misunderstanding. Alright, let me take a look at your leg first. Yu Zhentian waved his hand and lowered his head to check on Yu Coiling Tiger's leg. However, after a few glances, he casually gave Yu Coiling Tiger a few massages. Then he took out a bottle of pills and handed it to Yu Coiling Tiger. The acupuncture points on your leg have been sealed by someone. I've already used massages to remove most of them. You just need to take this tendon-relaxing blood-activating pill. Yes, thank you, uncle. Yupanhu quickly took the elixir that Yu Zhentian handed to him, and immediately felt his legs regain feeling. After Yu Zhentian looked at Yupanhu, he got up to check on Blue Hair's injury. Blue Hair was an Earth class master. In the hidden Yu family he was considered a master. It was best not to lose him. Therefore, Yu Zhentian didn't care if Blue Hair was Yupanhu's confidant or not. He had to try his best to heal him, because he was the head of the Yu family now. He had to consider the overall situation of the entire Yu family. If the hidden Yu family and the hidden Tang family became in-laws, it would undoubtedly mean that the relationship between the two families would take another step forward. In fact, most of the time, the marriage between families was for others to see. It didn't matter if they were useful or not. However, in the eyes of outsiders, the two families would naturally increase their strength if they joined forces. Those families who wanted to be enemies with the hidden Yu family and the hidden Tang family had to think carefully. When Yu Zhentian placed his hand on Blue Hair's meridians, he was shocked. His head is severely injured? However, after asking this, Yu Zhentian shook his head because it was obvious whether Blue Hair's head was injured or not. Blue Hair's injuries were mainly concentrated on his chest. There was no injury on his head at all. However, the results of the examination made Yu Zhentian feel strange. Although Blue Hair's chest was injured, a few of his ribs were broken, and some of the meridians in his chest were broken. Overall, it wasn't too difficult to heal. As long as he took a meridian opening pill and appropriate rest, it wouldn't be a problem for him to recover his strength. Although the meridian opening pill was rare and precious, that was for other hidden families. As an alchemy family, the hidden Yu family naturally wouldn't be stingy with a meridian opening pill. Yu Zhentian had a chance of refining this kind of pill, but the chance was pitifully small. However, the Yu family's old master could refine it, and the success rate was about 50%. For an Earth-class expert like Blue Hair, the hidden Yu family still valued him. It wasn't a big deal to give him a meridian opening pill when he was injured. However, the key problem now wasn't the injury on his chest, but his head. Chapter 1668. The head was where the nerves in the brain were concentrated. If the meridians were damaged, how could the nerves not be damaged? So Yu Zhentian was shocked when he saw Blue Hair's silly look. Did this guy really become an idiot? Head. No. His chest was injured by Linny earlier. Just now, Linny used a rising dragon fist on his cheek. Could it be that this move damaged his head? Yu Coiling Tiger was stunned and asked. Holy Church, that shouldn't be possible. Yu Zhentian looked at the injury on Blue Hair's cheek. It wasn't serious at all. It was just an external injury. Even his bones weren't hurt. This punch could be said to have no killing power at all. What rising dragon fist? It wasn't caused by this move. Yu Zhentian's eyesight was very accurate. He was also an Earth-class master, and one who was proficient in medicine and alchemy. He was even more knowledgeable about external and internal injuries. Lin Yi's punch was really as he said. It didn't have any killing power. Lin Yi was just putting on an act to trick Blue Hair. Both of them were Earth-class early-phase masters, and had Junqi to protect their bodies. Normal punches and kicks wouldn't be able to do much damage to them. Oh right, master. After that, Lin Yi said something about not being able to escape punishment. He touched Blue Hair's head, and then Blue Hair became like this. Yellow Hair suddenly remembered the situation and quickly said, could it be that he used some special martial technique with that touch? Touch. It can destroy the meridians and nerves in the head? Yu Zhentian was stunned. He had never heard of anyone who could use a martial technique with just a touch. And under the situation where there was no damage on the outside, destroying the meridians and nerves in the head. Wasn't this a little too magical? So he said, how is this possible? Blue Hair's head didn't have any external injuries. Could it be the legendary hitting the cow across the mountain? Yu Xiaoxin was also a knowledgeable person. She suddenly thought of a legendary martial technique. Holy Church hitting the cow across the mountain? Yu Zhentian's expression changed slightly. This was a martial technique of that evil ancient sect, the Everyday and Everyday sect. It was said to be from the legendary Chrysanthemum treasured book, but no one had ever successfully practiced it. Could it be that Lin Yi was from the Everyday and Everyday sect? If that was the case, then there was a huge grudge. Of course, although the Everyday and Everyday sect was an ancient sect, it wasn't much stronger than the Heavenly Elixir sect. In recent years, the Heavenly Elixir sect had developed rapidly, and in front of the Heavenly Elixir sect, the Everyday and Everyday sect had to be courteous. But the key was Lin Yi's identity. Since he knew the technique, he must be a direct disciple who practiced the Chrysanthemum scripture. Would the Heavenly Elixir sect help the Yu family to hide from the core disciple of such a sect? Everyday and the Every sect. The sect. If it was a sect, then what it would be? And the ancient sect too, and the ancient sect the Lin. 1 The ancient sect 112. Everyday and Everyday sect, Chrysanthemum treasure book. Yu Xiaoxin nodded and said. Yu Xiaoxin nodded. If that's the case, then Lin Yi's background isn't simple. Yu Zhentian frowned, but suddenly said, wait. The disciple from the Everyday and Everyday sect who practiced the Chrysanthemum treasured book also participated in the Ice Palace's trial. He was crippled. This Lin Yi definitely isn't from the Everyday and Everyday sect. Yu Zhentian suddenly thought of the incident that had been spread among the hidden houses. Although the Ice Palace had given a gag order, the disciples of the hidden houses had more or less experienced it themselves. They could hide it from others, but they definitely wouldn't hide it from their own house leader. So this incident still spread out. That's right. I heard he was crippled by a lone cultivator with the surname Ling. Yu Coiling Tiger immediately said. This Lin Yi definitely isn't a disciple from the Everyday and Everyday sect. What kind of existence is the Everyday and Everyday sect? Why would they send a core disciple to celebrate? They have nothing to do with the Hidden Tang family. That's true. The Hidden Tang family has never had any contact with the Everyday and Everyday sect, so it's definitely not their disciple who came to celebrate. Yu Xiaoxin knew a lot, and she was very clear about the relationship network of the Hidden Tang family. Then there's no problem. Yu Zhentian breathed a sigh of relief. As long as he didn't offend the disciples of the ancient sects, it doesn't matter. Moreover, we're the ones at a disadvantage this time, so it shouldn't be a big deal. Also, the Sky Elixir Sect's envoy is coming. With the Sky Elixir Sect's envoy supporting us, even the Ice Palace Master will have to give them some face. The next morning, Mrs. Tang received a bank card with 100 million in it. Then, she turned around and went to the villa's sales office to return the villa. According to the agreement, although they would lose some processing fees, it would be easier to get cash this way. This villa was in the best location in the building. The Hidden Tang family had used their connections to get it. The developer wasn't too willing to sell it, but since the Hidden Tang family wanted it, they had no choice but to give it to them. Otherwise, the developer would have wanted to keep the villa for himself. And when Mrs. Tang went to return the villa, it was exactly what the boss wanted. Without a second word, she returned the villa, and even waived the processing fees. After all, the boss was also afraid of the Hidden Tang family's influence. How could he dare to charge a processing fee when she wanted to return the villa? However, he didn't know Mrs. Tang. When he returned the villa, he still called the Hidden Tang family's eldest brother Tang, and told him about it. When eldest brother Tang heard that Mother Tang had gone to check out of the house early in the morning, he nearly rolled his eyes in anger. However, he maintained his composure and said, "Got it." Then, he hurried over to Grandfather Tang to report. Although he was unhappy, he did not dare to stop Mrs. Tang from checking out. All he could do was discuss with Grandfather Tang. After Elder Tang heard about this, he raised his eyebrows but calmly waved his hands. Forget it, if it's a refund, then so be it. The money was given to the Ice Palace Master's biological mother. Even though the Ice Palace Master might not be interested in it, we've already done her a favor. If anything happens in the future, as long as it doesn't harm the Ice Palace's interests, she will definitely help us. I guess that's the only way. Eldest brother Tang nodded helplessly. Isn't this Ice Palace Master's mother a little too greedy? Is there anything else? Isn't today the birthday banquet? I heard that the Heavenly Elixir sect has also sent an envoy to congratulate us. Aren't you going to make some preparations? Grandfather Tang asked calmly. This 80th birthday was the most glorious birthday that old Master Tang had ever had. Not only was the Ice Palace Master here, even the Heavenly Elixir sect had sent an envoy to congratulate him. Chapter 1669. Chapter 1671. A joyous matter. He was only an Earth class, but because of his alchemist status, he didn't think much of Bing Tang. Plus, the Sky Elixir sect was used to being arrogant. So what if they had Sky class masters? If they wanted pills, wouldn't they have to ask Grandpa for help? What is it? I don't understand. Bing Tang frowned and replied faintly. Haha, it seems that the sect master is forgetful. The young headmaster wants you to be his wife. What do you think? The Sky Elixir sect disciple said straightforwardly. The young headmaster has already convinced the elders. With him personally making the pill, the success rate of the Jade Heart pill will greatly increase. Then the sect master will be able to get what you want. Wife? You're a concubine, right? Bing Tang humphed coldly and looked at the Sky Elixir sect disciple. Don't even think about it. Even if I become a concubine, I won't go to the Sky Elixir sect. For some reason, Bing Tang suddenly remembered that she wanted to be Lin Yi's concubine. While she was angry, she wasn't disgusted by it. It was completely different from how she felt about the young headmaster of the Sky Elixir sect. Since the sect leader doesn't want to give me face, then I can only reply to the young sect leader this way. However, as for the Ice Heart Jade Bone pill, let me give the sect leader a piece of advice. Without the Sky Elixir sect's help, you're still dreaming. The messenger of the Heavenly Elixir sect was a little annoyed. Before he left, the young sect master told him to try his best to complete the task, but he didn't expect Bing Tang to be so tight-lipped. She didn't have the slightest intention of letting go, so he had no way to persuade her. He had prepared for so long, but before he could do anything, he was blocked. How could he not be angry? And so, the Sky Elixir sect's emissary began to hate the sect mistress. Thinking back to what the young sect leader had said, if the sect mistress didn't give him face, then he would use this opportunity to teach her a lesson, and let her know that the Sky Elixir sect was no longer the Sky Elixir sect it used to be. They were on the same level as the Ice Palace and the Everyday sect. The sect master frowned. If anyone else dared to talk to her like this, she would have taken their life a long time ago. But this was the envoy from the Sky Elixir sect, and she felt a little helpless. She really couldn't do anything to him. The Sky Elixir sect had been developing rapidly in the past few years, and they had formed alliances with many ancient houses and sections. They were not to be underestimated. Although the Ice Palace was powerful, they couldn't afford to offend the Heavenly Elixir sect at this time. Therefore, the sect master could only wave her hand, and a wave of chi slashed across the face of the Sky Elixir sect's emissary. It was like an invisible slap to the face, and the Sky Elixir sect's emissary's face burned with pain. The sect master couldn't kill him on the spot, but she could punish him. He was just an emissary from the Sky Elixir sect, and not the young sect leader. There was no need for the sect master to give him face. As long as she didn't kill him, the Sky Elixir sect could only take this. And as expected, the Sky Elixir sect's emissary almost fell off the table. Even if the sect master didn't mean to slap him to death, how could an Earth class handle the power of a Sky class? The Sky Elixir sect's emissary's face began to swell up. He glared at the sect master with hatred and anger, but didn't dare do anything. He wasn't an idiot. No one had seen the sect master slap him. She was a Sky class master, and he could only take it in silence. But if he stood up to cause trouble for the sect master, then he'd be causing trouble in front of everyone. If he really did get beaten up, or even crippled. There'd be no way for him to explain himself. Therefore, he could only secretly circulate his true qi to relieve the pain on his face. Then he took out a bottle of pills from his bosom, and took one to reduce swelling and pain. Otherwise, if the dignified messenger of the heavenly elixir sect were to be slapped in the face by others, they would definitely laugh at him. Oh, the Sky Elixir sect's emissary took a deep breath thinking, "Rock Candy, you're good. Just you wait, I won't let you go so easily." The birthday banquet also began at this time. After eldest brother Tang spoke a lot of words of gratitude, he announced the start of the birthday banquet. The guests presented their gifts, which was very similar to the Kong family's birthday banquet. The various relatives of the Tang family sent representatives to send gifts in order. The gifts ranged from antiques to calligraphy and paintings. Of course, the most popular gifts were elixirs and elixirs. In the blink of an eye, it was the hidden Yu family's turn to send gifts. The Yu family's representative was Yu Coiling Tiger. With Yu Jintian's status, he naturally couldn't go on stage and present his gifts, so Yu Coiling Tiger did it for him. "Uncle, I represent the hidden Yu family to congratulate you on your birthday. This is our hidden Yu family's gift list. 15 spirit gathering pills, 3 foundation establishment pills, 5 meridian unblocking pills, 5 small qi gathering pills." Yu Coiling Tiger reported the names of a bunch of pills. Of course, some of these pills were refined with the help of the Heavenly Elixir sect. For example, the small qi gathering pill was a yellow level 2 pill. The hidden Yu family had a very high failure rate. The lesser qi gathering pill was a lower level version of the qi gathering pill, but according to what Zhang Liju said, the original qi gathering pill was already a simplified version. It was actually a lesser qi gathering pill, but the lesser qi gathering pill he was referring to now was even lower leveled. It only had the effect of increasing qi. It didn't have the effect of breaking through bottlenecks, and so this thing only increased qi a little more than the qi gathering pill. But even so, in the hidden house's level, it was still a precious pill. Good. That's great. Eldest Tang heard the names of the pills and was overjoyed. "Good nephew, wait here for a while. I have a big announcement to make while we're happy." "Yes, uncle." Yu Coiling Tiger seemed to have realized something. A trace of joy flashed through his eyes as he looked towards Tang Yun's table not far away. It was obvious that Aunt's words yesterday had worked, and Uncle's side had made the decision to betroth Tang Yun to him. "Today is my father's 80th birthday, and I have something to celebrate as well. My long-lost daughter has finally been found. My third wife, Xiaoming's daughter, was lost by an unscrupulous servant. It's been so many years, and I miss her all the time." Eldest Tang didn't even blush when he lied. Linny really wanted to throw a wine bottle at him, but Eldest Tang continued, "Xiaoming, Tang Yun, come up." Chapter 1670. Although it was more or less to support the hidden house Yu, and it was also because of the ice palace that they sent the messenger. But no matter what, the main character of this banquet was Elder Tang, so he was still very happy. "It's ready. Oh right, Xiaoxin told me yesterday that she wanted me to marry her daughter to the Yu family's Yu Panhu. What do you think?" Last night, Yu Xiaoxin said that she wanted to marry Tang Yun to Yu Panhu. Originally, Elder Tang didn't want to acknowledge Tang Yun as his daughter. Even if he did, he couldn't bring her back to the Tang family, mainly because of Yu Xiaoxin. Now that he couldn't rely on the ice palace, he had to rely on the Yu family's support to stabilize his position as the head of the hidden Tang family. However, he didn't expect that Yu Xiaoxin would take the initiative to bring this daughter back to the Tang family and marry her to the hidden Yu family's second young master, Yu Panhu. Tang Big Bro was surprised, but he was also secretly calculating in his heart. This deal was quite a good deal after he thought about it. His cheap daughter was directly married to the hidden Yu family's second young master, Yu Panhu. Although he wasn't a direct descendant, this was already very good. Yu Jintian's son wouldn't marry Tang Yun with an unknown identity. So, Elder Tang only thought for a moment before agreeing. He thought that Xiaoming wouldn't have any objections. She should be very happy to let her daughter return to the Tang family. Tang Yun, a commoner who grew up among the common people, suddenly married the hidden Yu family's second young master. It was like a pheasant becoming a phoenix. She was really lucky. However, this matter didn't count even if Elder Tang agreed. He needed Elder Tang's approval. Although Elder Tang was the head of the family, this kind of big matter still needed Elder Tang's approval. He didn't dare to make the decision on his own. Oh, your daughter? You mean Xiaoming's daughter? Old Master Tang was slightly surprised. Then he asked in astonishment, didn't you always say that you don't want to acknowledge her? You were afraid that Xiaoxin would have objections. Why did Xiaoxin bring this up? I heard that right coiling tiger knew Tang Yin when she was in Songshan City, and he expressed his love for her. So this time, he wanted me to marry Tang Yin to his beloved nephew, so he told me. I think this is good for our family, but I still want to ask for your opinion, father. Eldest Tang said. Just like you said, this is a good thing. This way, it can be considered that we have found a good husband for Xiaoming, the second young master of the Hidden Yu family. I heard that his alchemy skills aren't bad either. If he has some ability, that child won't be at a disadvantage if she marries him. Elder Tang nodded in agreement. These people took it for granted that Tang Yin would agree, and they didn't even ask for Tang Yin's opinion. As far as they were concerned, Tang Yin was a chicken turning into a phoenix, and they couldn't be happier. From Mrs. Tang's skills, it could be seen that her family's living conditions were just SOSO. Being able to marry into the Hidden Yu family was a great thing. Lin Yi brought Xiao Xiao and Tang Yin to the banquet hall when it was about to start. Lin Yi didn't have a good impression of the Hidden Tang family, so he found a random seat and sat down. Naturally, Elder Tang and Bing Tang hadn't appeared yet. These important guests wouldn't show up until a few minutes before the banquet started. This old Tang really knows how to put on airs. What's he doing? I'm starving to death, and he's not going to serve the food. Xiao Xiao said with a bitter face. She didn't have any intention of participating in a celebratory event like this, looking for good food the moment she arrived. Xiao Xiao's words drew the angry glares of a few Tang disciples, but those who knew Xiao Xiao's identity quickly stopped them. That's the Ice Palace Master's junior sister. If you don't want to die, then go. And so the Tang disciples stopped. The Ice Palace Master's junior sister. Wasn't that the future Ice Palace Master? Who would dare mess with someone like that? Sure enough, the birthday banquet was scheduled to start at 9:00 p.m. At 8:50 p.m., Grandfather Tang, surrounded by Eldest Tang, Second Tang and the others, walked up to the main seat. After Grandfather Tang was seated, Eldest Tang walked up to the stage at the front of the banquet hall. Unlike the others, he did not pick up the microphone. Instead, he spoke in a loud and clear voice. Welcome, all guests and members of the Tang family, to Father's 80th birthday. Boss Tang was a practitioner, and his voice was loud even without a microphone. The crowd started clapping as soon as he finished speaking. Of course, those clapping were the bootlicking disciples of House Tang. Lin Yi, Xiao Xiao, and Tang Yin didn't care at all. Today is Father's 80th birthday. We are fortunate to have several honored guests here, which brings light to our humble home. Next, let us invite the Palace Master of the Ice Palace, and the emissary of the Heavenly Elixir School. Eldest brother Tang said as he made an inviting gesture. There was another round of applause. Those who could attend the birthday banquet this time were all close relatives, and members of the Hidden Tang family. There was no one like Tang Yun's family. These people relied on Tang family to survive, so the sect leader of the Ice Palace and the Sky Elixir School's representative were here. How honorable was that? These guests also felt very honored. Normally, when the old patriarch of a hidden house celebrated his birthday, even the patriarchs of other hidden houses would be honored, not to mention ancient people coming to congratulate him. But for the Hidden Tang family to do this, it was a huge honor. It was one of a kind. Rock candy floated over, but she didn't go up on stage to say anything. Instead, she sat down beside Elder Tang, while Little Qing brought Xiao Ming, Mother Tang, and Tang Juqing to sit beside her. The Sky Elixir Sect's envoy was a young man in his 30s, with an aquiline nose and sharp eyes. His face was a bit feminine, but he was very arrogant, as if he could sit on the same level as Bing Tang. After coming in, he sat down at the head table. He wasn't the young master of the Sky Elixir Sect, but he was still the disciple of the sect's headmaster, and he could be considered the junior brother of the young master. Naturally, he had the right to be arrogant. Plus, he was already a golden level 2 refiner, which was very rare at his age. He didn't use the face-preserving pill, And he really was only in his 30s. He had two goals for coming here this time. One was to support the hidden house Yu, and the other was to send a message to Bingtang on behalf of the young master, asking her if she still wanted the Ice Heart Jade Bone Pill. Chapter 1671. Xiaoming didn't know what to do. She obviously didn't know about this arrangement beforehand, so after listening to Boss Tang's words, she couldn't help but turn to look at Bingtang. Bingtang also frowned, thinking that this Boss Tang was really good at putting on a show. But at this time she couldn't say anything. It was better to listen to her auntie, so she said, "Auntie, you decide." "Then, I'll go up. After all, it's the old man's big day. It won't be good if I don't go." Xiaoming was a kind person. Although she had already decided to leave the hidden Tang family, on this happy day, she still didn't want the Tang family to lose face. She decided to mention this matter later. Bingtang didn't say anything. This was her auntie's decision. She couldn't interfere. Xiaoming went up on stage. Tang Yin didn't want to go up at first. She didn't have a good impression of this father who abandoned her. In her heart, she had never acknowledged Boss Tang as her father. Although she recognized Xiaoming as her mother, as a father, she only saw Tang Juqing as her father. At this time, Xiaoming went up. Tang Yin was in a difficult position. Her mother had already gone up. If she didn't go, wouldn't it make her mother lose face? She didn't care if Boss Tang lost face or not. But she couldn't let her birth mother down, right? Thinking of this, Tang Yin looked at Lin Yi in a difficult position. She didn't know if she should go up or not. "Lin Yi, Tang Yin was very nervous and didn't know what to do. "It's okay, I'll go up with you." Lin Yi smiled faintly and said, "Let's use this chance to tell him that you have nothing to do with him. You and your mother, Aunt Xiaoming, are moving back to Songshan. They're hiding in House Tang, and we're not worthy of them. This isn't too good." Tang Yin heard Lin Yi's words and couldn't help but be stunned. Saying this on this occasion, wasn't it the same as slapping the hidden Tang family's face? However, Lin Yi didn't say anything and already stood up. Tang Yin had no choice but to follow behind Lin Yi. When everyone saw Lin Yi also stand up and walk towards the stage, they suddenly felt a little strange. They didn't know where he came from. Eldest brother Tang also frowned. He didn't know Lin Yi. This was the first time Lin Yi appeared in the hidden Tang family. However, Boss Tang couldn't reprimand Lin Yi in front of everyone. He could only watch as Lin Yi and Tang Yin walked over together. He could only ignore Lin Yi and wave to Tang Yin. "Tang Yin, my daughter, I finally get to see you. I missed you so much. Fortunately, the heavens have eyes and let me find you." Tang Yin's eyes widened. She didn't think that her father would lie to her face, and so smoothly too. She didn't know what to say. "Haha, daughter. Today is your grandfather's birthday. However, I still have something important to announce." Eldest brother Tang said. "The hidden Yu family's second son, Yu Coiling Tiger, is a talented man and has reached the age to start a family. It is said that you and he have known each other for a long time. Their relationship is not bad. This time, I will make the decision and betroth you to him." Tang Yin was even more stunned on the spot. Originally, this father who was full of lies already made her at a loss. Suddenly, he gave her a marriage betrothal. She didn't know what to say. "Thank you, uncle." However, before Tang Yin could speak, Yu Coiling Tiger took a step forward and stood in front of eldest brother Tang. He cupped his fists and thanked him. "Hee, we're getting closer now. What's there to thank?" Eldest brother Tang laughed and said. Xiaoming was also a little confused at this moment. What was going on? Eldest brother Tang didn't tell her before. It was normal for them to recognize each other, but she didn't know that Tang Yin was going to be betrothed to the hidden Yu family's Yu Coiling Tiger. "Are the two of you retarded? Who are you to Tang Yin? Betroth her? I think you should betroth yourself to him as a gay friend." Just when Yu Coiling Tiger and eldest brother Tang were in high spirits, a cold voice sounded. Lin Yi pulled Tang Yun's hand and looked at eldest brother Tang as if he was looking at a crazy person. "Kid, who are you? Did you deliberately come to make trouble?" Eldest brother Tang was slightly stunned. Although he felt that Lin Yi suddenly stood up and walked over, he didn't put him in his eyes. But now he absolutely didn't expect that Lin Yi would dare to say such words in public, making eldest brother Tang embarrassed. This time, Eldest brother Tang lost a lot of face. The guests in the audience were also in an uproar. They didn't know what happened. You came to the birthday banquet. By the way, let me tell you, Tang Yun has nothing to do with your hidden Tang family. Don't stick gold on your face. You are not worthy to be Tang Yun's father. Lin Yi said faintly. Moreover, Aunt Xiaoming will leave with us. From now on, she will have nothing to do with the Tang family. You. Eldest brother Tang's face turned red from Lin Yi's words. He had never been so embarrassed before. Just now he was excited to recognize his family, but now, it seemed that they didn't want to recognize him at all. In eldest brother Tang's opinion, if the hidden Tang family recognized him, it would be a glorious thing. Even if Tang Yun's sister was rock candy, she came from a poor family. Looking at Tang Yun's mother's face, he could see how greedy and vain their family was. But what eldest brother Tang didn't expect was that Lin Yi actually interfered. He didn't want Tang Yun to recognize him at all. Uncle, this kid is the villain who hurt people yesterday. His name is Lin Yi. Not only did he hurt my nephew for no reason, but he also beat the hidden Yu family's master, Blue Hair, into a vegetable. Although Coiling Tiger Right didn't expect Lin Yi to reject eldest brother Tang's proposal, he wasn't worried at all. If Lin Yi spoke nicely, and let Tang Yun beg eldest brother Tang not to grant the marriage, then with Rock Candy's face, eldest brother Tang might not be able to force anything. But Lin Yi directly rejected eldest brother Tang's proposal. This was equivalent to slapping him in the face. Even if Tang Yun had a sister who was the Ice Palace Master, Tang Yun was still eldest brother Tang's daughter. How could eldest brother Tang tolerate this? If he did, then the hidden Tang family's face would be completely lost. So Coiling Tiger Right was overjoyed. Kid, I'll let you be cocky. Aren't you awesome? Chapter 1672. It could be said that the two sides were evenly matched, but the problem was which side the hidden house Tang would side with. Boss Tang had been forced into a dead end, and he could either compromise with the Ice Palace, or he could rely on the hidden house Yu to get the support of the Sky Elixir sect. Chapter 1673. School Beauty's personal expert. So it's a troublemaker. Boss Tang smiled coldly, pretending that he didn't know who Lin Yi was. You're not welcome here. I'm talking to Tang Yun about the hidden house Tang's business. You're an outsider, so please don't get involved. Boss Tang saw Coiling Tiger jump out and knew that this wasn't good. He seemed to have seen through Coiling Tiger's thoughts, but he didn't want to offend the sect master that he'd worked so hard to get on his side. All he could do was yell at Lin Yi. Outsider? You're the outsider, aren't you? Lin Yi said faintly. Tang Yun has never acknowledged you as her father. We're here to tell you that we're taking Aunt Ming away, that's all. Who are you to Tang Yun? Why are you saying this? Boss Tang suddenly saw Lin Yi holding Tang Yun's hand, and he immediately understood. There must be something going on between the two of them. No wonder he was in such a hurry to get involved. But if Boss Tang remembered correctly, Lin Yi was Xiao Xiao's boyfriend. He was Bingtong's junior sister husband. What kind of existence was Xiao Xiao? The next master of the Ice Palace, her man was cheating on her? And so Boss Tang decided to do this. After all, he never would have thought that the future Ice Palace master would agree to her man cheating on her. And to Bingtong's sister no less. Kid, you look pretty close to Tang Yun, don't you? Aren't you Miss Feng Xiao Xiao's boyfriend? I'd advise you to mind your own business. Don't cause a family conflict. Right. Coiling Tiger saw Lin Yi holding Tang Yun's hand. This was purposely said for Xiao Xiao and Bingtang to hear. He wanted to sow discord between Lin Yi, Rock Candy, and Xiao Xiao, isolating Lin Yi. Tang Yun has always been my girlfriend. Lin Yi glanced at Tiger Yu and said indifferently, Is there a problem? While Lin Yi was speaking, his body didn't stop for even a moment. He was constantly condensing true chi bombs. It had to be known that the Tang family's patriarch was a heaven stage expert. Although he was only at the early stage of heaven stage, it would still be enough to make Lin Yi suffer. Thus, Lin Yi had to have a way to protect himself. If he couldn't hold on any longer, he could just throw a bomb at Elder Tang. Regardless of whether he could kill Elder Tang or not, it would still be a form of deterrence. Quack. Boss Tang was stunned, and so was Right Coiling Tiger. They never would have thought that Lin Yi would say something like that. Boss Tang had been scheming to remove Lin Yi from this matter. He didn't want him to get involved in House Tang's internal affairs. However, Lin Yi directly said that Tang Yun was his girlfriend. This way, Tang Yun's matters could naturally be handled by him. After a short moment of surprise, Right Coiling Tiger wasn't too angry. He looked at Xiao Xiao mockingly before turning to Lin Yi. No way? Did I hear it wrong? Aren't you the Ice Palace Master's boyfriend? Did you fall in love with someone else, or did you cheat on her? Although he was trying to pick a fight, the hatred between Tiger Yu and Lin Yi couldn't be resolved. He wanted to blow things up, and so he purposely pushed Xiao Xiao and Bingtang to see how they would react. Both of them, can't I? Lin Yi looked at Tiger Right as if he was looking at an idiot. With your IQ, you don't even need to think about it. You might as well stay with that blue-haired guy. Being an idiot isn't a bad idea. You, Right Coiling Tiger jumped, startled by Lin Yi's words. He subconsciously took 2 steps back, wanting to get away from Lin Yi, but he didn't expect that he'd fall right off the edge of the stage, landing on his butt. He was a practitioner, but it still hurt a lot when he didn't have his guard up. He grimaced in pain, getting up after a while. The guests couldn't help but laugh at Tiger Yu's action. Boss Tang frowned, cursing his nephew for being an idiot. He had the upper hand, but now that he fell, everyone's eyes were on him, and the pressure on the Ice Palace Master and Xiao Xiao's side was a lot lighter. Both of them? Do you think we'll believe you? Think about Miss Xiao Xiao's identity. How could the future Ice Palace Master share a man with another woman? Your joke isn't funny at all. Boss Tang brought the topic back. Forget it if you don't believe me. Is there something wrong with you, you old thing? I'm the small wife, and Tang Yun sis is the big wife. What's there to not understand? You've married so many wives and you'll understand? Xiao Xiao couldn't take it anymore and stood up. Wah! Boss Tang's eyes widened as he looked at Xiao Xiao standing up. As far as he was concerned, Xiao Xiao was definitely going to stand up and say something, but it was probably to pull Lin Yi back in a fit of rage, so he wouldn't embarrass himself, not to support Lin Yi. Boss Tang never would have guessed that Xiao Xiao, the next Ice Palace Master, would be Lin Yi's small wife. What kind of logic was this? Ice Palace Master, it seems like your Ice Palace people have no rules? This is Hidden House Tang's business, after all, and we ancient sects and noble houses respect tradition the most. That's what they say, it's the parents' decision, the matchmaker's decision. Who Tang Yun's parents want to marry her off to is her parents' business. What's wrong with your people? The one who spoke was the Sky Elixir sect's representative. He'd been holding his anger for a long time, and now that he had the chance, he stood up and spoke in a neutral tone. You're right. This is our sect's business. What does it have to do with you? Who do you think you are? Xiao Xiao stood up and glared at him. What's wrong with your Sky Elixir sect interfering? The Sky Elixir sect representative was about to explode after hearing Xiao Xiao's words. He didn't dare say anything after getting slapped by Bingtang, but he wasn't afraid of Xiao Xiao at all. Xiao Xiao was the next Ice Palace Master, but she wasn't yet, was she? Chapter 1673. The most important thing was that Xiao Xiao was only a golden class, while the Sky Elixir representative was an Earth class mid-phase. Although he specialized in elixir making, an Earth class couldn't even beat a golden class early phase? He'd be better off dead. Chapter 1674. The school beauty's personal expert, and so the Sky Elixir emissary was pissed off. He moved and reached out to grab Xiao Xiao, wanting to teach her a lesson. Xiao Xiao, watch out. The energy ball Lin Yi had prepared was for Elder Tang, so he didn't expect the idiot from the Sky Elixir to make the first move. Lin Yi had no more moves left, so he grabbed the energy ball and prepared to blow it up at the Sky Elixir representative. But Lin Yi didn't want to reveal his trump card too early. Only the Sky class girl knew about the theory behind the energy bomb, so Lin Yi could use it against Elder Tang. But a trump card was called a trump card because no one else knew about it. If everyone knew about it, then what kind of trump card would it be? Raging Flames. The martial skill used by the Heavenly Elixir sect's emissary was related to the Pillfire. This was also the martial skill that most of the alchemists in the Heavenly Elixir sect cultivated. Using the Pillfire as an offensive weapon and martial skill, there was no need to waste time cultivating other martial skills. Raging Flames was a beginner-level technique for refiners. using qi to activate the refinement fire in the body to injure the enemy, but the strength of this technique depended on the refiner's level and the element of the refinement fire they practiced. This raging flames was the most basic technique of the refinement fire element. It wasn't strong, but it was still an earth-class technique. It was a piece of cake for it to injure a golden-class early-phase master like Xiao Xiao. But before Lin Yi could make a move, Bingtang made the first move. As a heaven stage expert, how could she watch an earth stage expert attack her own junior sister without noticing? What? Do you want to fight? Rock Candy casually waved her hand, and the fiery dragon-like flame immediately froze into ice cubes and fell to the ground, shattering into pieces. Because the fire was frozen in an instant, it was sealed in ice, like an ice lantern, leaving an afterimage in people's eyes before the fire was extinguished. Seeing that Bingtang made a move, the Sky Elixir representative knew that he wouldn't get anything out of this. I was just warning her, don't meddle in other people's business. Having said that, the Heavenly Elixir Sect's envoy seemed to deliberately find fault. He jumped on the high platform and then said to eldest brother Tang, "Today, my Heavenly Elixir Sect is here to be a witness. Eldest brother Tang's daughter is going to marry Yupanhu of the Yu family. If anyone disagrees, then they're going against the Sky Elixir." The purpose of the Heavenly Elixir Sect's visit this time was to support the hidden Yu family. If they showed weakness now, not only would the Heavenly Elixir Sect lose face, but the hidden Yu family wouldn't be able to help the Heavenly Elixir Sect anymore. "May I ask, how many daughters does that boss Tang have?" Lin Yi suddenly interrupted. "Of course there's only one, Tang Yun, who we just lost," the Sky Elixir Sect representative said, looking at Lin Yi provocatively. He'd been taken advantage of by Bingtang, and now he wanted to get back at Lin Yi. "Kid, you better know your place. You're just the boyfriend of the Ice Palace Sect Master's junior sister. We, the Sky Elixir Sect, don't even put the Ice Palace in our eyes, let alone a relative like you. I'm an alchemist, don't get yourself into trouble." The Sky Elixir representative's words were pretentious, but it was true. With the Sky Elixir Sect's status, there was no need to fear the Ice Palace. This was also the reason why the young master of the Sky Elixir Sect dared to let Bingtang be his concubine. It was precisely because the alchemist's status was so respected that the Sky Elixir Sect had the capital to be arrogant. "Oh, are you done?" Lin Yi asked. "I'm done, but kid." Before the Sky Elixir representative could finish his sentence, he was interrupted by Lin Yi. "Since you're done, then go fuck yourself." Lin Yi threw a Zhenqi bomb at the Sky Elixir representative, but this Zhenqi bomb contained a layer of water alchemy fire, which looked like the Raging Flames technique that the Sky Elixir representative had just used. However, Lin Yi had replaced the fire alchemy fire with the rarer water alchemy fire. This alchemy fire was just a cover. The real power was from the energy bomb that Lin Yi had thrown out. However, the time was short, and the energy that Lin Yi had condensed was limited, so he couldn't cause too much damage to the Sky Elixir representative. However, Lin Yi didn't intend to kill the Sky Elixir representative on the spot. Lin Yi wasn't an idiot. Even the heaven-ranked girl didn't dare to kill him on the spot, so with Lin Yi's background, wouldn't killing the Sky Elixir representative be suicide? However, even if he couldn't kill him, it was necessary to teach him a lesson. Lin Yi's use of the Raging Flames technique was also to build up his background. There were many different versions of Lin Yi's background, saying that Lin Yi was a disciple of some big house or a big sect, and that he was a disciple of some big sect. However, whether it was true or not, Lin Yi knew best. Lin Yi was completely from a grassroots background, so how could he have a big force behind him? So the more tricks Lin Yi had up his sleeves, the more these ancient sects and hidden houses would be afraid of him. This also gave Lin Yi time to catch his breath, and by the time they could catch their breath, Lin Yi would be ready. Boom. The Heavenly Elixir Sect's emissary was sent flying by Lin Yi's attack. He landed on the ground and spat out a mouthful of blood. The clothes on his upper body were all burned by Lin Yi's alchemic fire. His upper body was charred black and he looked a little pathetic. Of course, this was just a look of embarrassment, but in reality, he didn't suffer any serious injuries. This was Lin Yi's perfect timing. The Sky Elixir Sect, the Hidden Yu family, and the Hidden Tang family were already enemies. Although they couldn't coexist, the Sky Elixir sect wouldn't act rashly because of the Ice Palace behind Lin Yi. Lin Yi could also see that the Sky Elixir sect's current strength wasn't enough to swallow the Ice Palace. Therefore, as long as Lin Yi didn't kill the Sky Elixir representative, the Sky Elixir sect wouldn't come looking for trouble with Lin Yi. Now that the enmity was already set, Lin Yi, of course, had to teach the Sky Elixir representative a lesson. Chapter 1674. The guests, the Hidden Tang family, and the people from the Hidden House of Tang and the Hidden House of Yu, who were originally suspicious of Lin Yi's martial skill, suddenly understood after hearing Lin Yi's words. So Lin Yi was also an alchemist? No wonder it's also a pill master's martial technique. The school bell's personal expert, but Lin Yi's move made everyone go into an uproar. Lin Yi dared to attack the Sky Elixir sect's representative. This was a slap to the face. At this moment, even Crystal Candy admired Lin Yi a little. This guy was really a hero who was angry for a beauty. Thinking back to when she took Xiao Xiao away, didn't Lin Yi explode in anger and fight her to the death? The Ice Palace emissary's move had probably crossed Lin Yi's bottom line. And while he'd blocked it, Lin Yi had remembered it in his heart. Wasn't this revenge coming soon? However, Lin Yi's method of revenge surprised even Bingtang. Bingtang knew Lin Yi's trump card, and she also knew Lin Yi's identity as an alchemist. So his method wasn't a secret in Bingtang's eyes, but in other people's eyes, it became a real alchemist's technique. This way, it didn't matter if it was the Hidden House Tang, the Hidden House Yu, or the Sky Elixir sect, they'd all be speculating about Lin Yi's background. An Earth-class refiner, the man of the future sect master of the Ice Palace. Even the future sect master of the Ice Palace was willing to be a small wife. Bingtang shook her head. This Lin Yi really knew how to create fame. What identity did he have? If he did, he wouldn't have begged her in front of the Ice Palace for half a month without eating or drinking. Why ya. The emissary of the Heavenly Elixir sect climbed up from the ground, fuming with anger. As an alchemist, he had a high status. Not to mention outside, even in the Heavenly Elixir sect, no one dared to treat him like this. When had he ever been treated like this? Boss Tang was also glaring at Lin Yi angrily. It was supposed to be a good birthday banquet, but because of Lin Yi's interference, Boss Tang didn't dare to make a move. If Lin Yi dared to beat up the messenger of Heavenly Elixir sect, then what was Boss Tang? Plus, if he was going to make a move, would the sect master do it? Would Little Qing do it? Not to mention that Little Qing was a Sky class mid-phase. Even if it was just Bingtang, he, Elder Tang, and the Sky Elixir representative wouldn't be her match. Little Ming, look at your child. She can't grow up in the countryside. Tell her that if she still wants to recognize us as her parents and the Tang family, she should listen to me and agree to the marriage with the Yu family. Then let's forget about the previous unhappiness. Boss Tang wanted to say some harsh words against Lin Yi, but after thinking about it, he didn't say it. Who knew if this guy would suddenly make trouble again? Plus, what made Boss Tang confused was that Lin Yi seemed to have a strong background. Even Bingtang didn't dare to go against the Sky Elixir representative, but Lin Yi dared to directly injure him. Who did he borrow power from? Boss Tang didn't believe that he borrowed power from the Ice Palace. This Lin Yi wasn't stupid, and it wasn't that he couldn't see the situation clearly. If he dared to cause trouble at this time, then he obviously had something to rely on. However, before Little Ming could say anything, the Sky Elixir representative spoke first. Boss Tang, give me a straightforward answer today. If he dies, then I die. Either you kick him out or I'll leave. The Sky Elixir representative suffered a big loss today, but it was impossible for him to get back with his own ability. So he could only use Boss Tang's identity as the host to kick Lin Yi out. That way, he could still get back some face. Lin Yi, I don't care who you are, but this is our Tang family's business. Please leave immediately. Boss Tang said to Lin Yi with a gloomy face. What, Boss Tang, you don't welcome our guest? Bingtang asked coldly. Things had gotten to this point, which was beyond the Ice Palace's expectations. The relationship between the Ice Palace and the Tang family had come to an end. Bingtang didn't know what was wrong with Boss Tang's brain. He made a decision on his own to grant a marriage. Was he crazy? Boss Tang didn't dare to disobey the Sky Elixir representative and wanted Lin Yi to leave, but he definitely didn't want the Ice Palace to leave with him. Boss Tang, the Sky Elixir sect and the Ice Palace are irreconcilable. Should I leave or should they leave? You make the decision. The Sky Elixir representative said darkly. This, Tang Yin, I'll ask you again. Do you still recognize this Tang family? Boss Tang felt sad. If he knew this would happen, he would have agreed to the marriage. Now that things had turned out like this, he could only give up one of them. After weighing the pros and cons, Boss Tang decided to choose the Sky Elixir sect and the Hidden Yu family. After all, the Hidden Yu family was his wife's family, and the Sky Elixir sect was the Hidden Yu family's backer. If he chose the Ice Palace, not only would he offend the Sky Elixir sect, but he would also lose the Hidden Yu family's support. The Ice Palace's support wouldn't be important anymore. Moreover, the Ice Palace didn't have a good impression of the Hidden Tang family, so at this time, he had to give it up. Recognize the Tang family? We didn't recognize them at all. As for Auntie Xiaoming, we will take her away. Linny looked at Boss Tang and said word by word. Good, very good. Tang Yin, Xiaoming, once you leave this house, you will have nothing to do with the Hidden Tang family. You don't need to come back anymore. I don't have a daughter like you, and I don't have a wife like you. Boss Tang pretended to be regretful. You're on your own. In your heart, you've always thought so, right? If you have no value, then you can leave, right? Linny looked at Boss Tang mockingly. We can leave, and we can leave now, but let me give you a piece of advice. If you beg Tang Yin to forgive you for what you did in the past, maybe Tang Yin will still recognize you as her father, and when you're in trouble in the future, she might even help you. However, I'm a person who can be persuaded, but not cowed. The more you act like this, the better. In the future, we don't owe each other anything. Boss Tang will meet again. Huh? I'll beg for her forgiveness? Let her help me when I'm in trouble? What a joke. Haha. Eldest brother Tang suddenly burst into laughter. Are you dreaming? Linny smiled. You can also think of it as a dream. Alright, that's all I have to say. Grandpa Tang, I wish you a happy birthday, and I hope you can celebrate your birthday next year. After Linny finished, he took Tang Yun's hand and strode towards the entrance of the banquet hall. No one dared to stop them. Chapter 1675. Now it was just a break in contact with the Ice Palace. With the Ice Palace's status, they naturally wouldn't settle scores with a lower-level family like the Hidden Tang family. No pop-up window chias for the fight between the Ice Palace and the Heavenly Elixir sect. It had nothing to do with the Hidden Tang family. Linny had successfully created and borrowed power. If it wasn't for his unpredictable martial skills and the Heaven-class girl sitting here, Linny probably wouldn't have been able to leave the Tang family today. But now not only did he leave, he even stepped on Big Brother Tang a few times. However, Linny wasn't very happy. Instead, he had a deep desire for power. If he was a Heaven-class expert today, he wouldn't have hesitated to kill the Heavenly Elixir sect's envoy instead of just teaching him a lesson. Rock Candy, Little Qing, Father and Mother Tang, and Xiaoming also walked towards the entrance of the banquet hall. The Hidden Tang family was supposed to be celebrating, but because of Lin Yi, everyone lost all interest. Old Man Tang sighed slightly. A man who is never content is like a snake trying to swallow an elephant. If he had known this would happen, he wouldn't have been in such a hurry to get close to the Ice Palace. Then he wouldn't have offended the Ice Palace for no reason. Although Lin Yi and the others had left, after such a ruckus, the birthday banquet couldn't continue. Many of the necessary steps were skipped and the banquet ended in a hurry. During the banquet, it didn't feel like a birthday banquet, but a funeral banquet. No one dared to speak. They all had gloomy faces as they lowered their heads and ate. As for the Heavenly Elixir sect's envoy, he also left after Lin Yi and the others had left. Although the Tang family chose the Heavenly Elixir sect and chased Lin Yi and the others away, the envoy didn't feel like he had won at all. At the end of the birthday banquet, Grandfather Tang whispered a few instructions to Eldest Tang. Eldest Tang walked up to the stage again and said to the guests, "I hope that no one will speak about what happened today. Don't leak it out. It involves the face of the Heavenly Elixir sect. Everyone should be clear about the consequences." These people were the relatives and clansmen of the Tang family. Usually, they had to rely on the Tang family to survive. Since Big Brother Tang had ordered them to do this, they naturally wouldn't talk about it casually. Moreover, it involved the face of the heavenly elixir sect, so they couldn't talk about it carelessly. After all, no one would complain about having a long life. Therefore, after Tang Big Bro gave the order, everyone nodded one after another, not daring to have the slightest doubt. After the banquet, the people of the Hidden Right family did not stay for long and left with the emissary of the heavenly elixir sect. Of course, Yu Zhentian did not have any objections to hiding the Tang family. They had left in a hurry, because they had to accompany the heavenly elixir sect's envoy. They could not possibly let the envoy leave alone, right? Relatively speaking, Yu Zhentian was quite satisfied with the decision made by the Hidden Tang family today. This way, the Hidden Tang family would be tied together with the Hidden House Yu and the heavenly elixir sect's interests. They had no other choice and could not turn back. After returning to the hotel, Linny let out a long breath. What he did today was indeed a little risky. Looking at the smiling Bingtang sitting in front of him, Linny felt a little uncomfortable. Sky class girl, why are you looking at me? I didn't think that you would open my eyes today. You dared to hit the people of the heavenly elixir sect. Aren't you afraid that they will take revenge? Bingtang was getting more and more confused about Linny. This guy could sometimes put down his status and dignity for some things, begging for her sympathy for Xiao Xiao. But sometimes he would rather die than submit. He would rather go against the heavenly elixir sect than compromise. But no matter what, Linny did it for Xiao Xiao, for the person he loved. This made Bingtang look at Lin Yi in a higher light. At this moment, she didn't think that Lin Yi wasn't good enough for Xiao Xiao anymore. At the very least, what he'd done was worthy of Xiao Xiao's love. Even if they want revenge, it's you. I'm just a small fry. They won't be able to find me for now. Lin Yi said faintly. Plus, do you think that the heavenly elixir sect's messenger will say what happened today? If he loses face, it's not his problem. It's the heavenly elixir sect's face. If he says what happened today, the heavenly elixir sect will be in a passive position. They have to fight back, but they don't have the confidence to take down the Ice Palace. If they don't fight back, isn't that the same as admitting defeat? So, as long as the messenger isn't stupid, he'll keep his mouth shut. As for the Hidden House Tang and House Yu, no one would dare to say anything. I'm still safe. It seems like you've thought it through. You're not someone who doesn't care about the consequences. Bingtang nodded. Linny was right. She thought about it too. But your identity as a refiner has been exposed. I've revealed that I'm only at the first or second level of the golden class, not too high or too low. House Yu doesn't even care about my strength, let alone the heavenly elixir sect. But at most, they'll wonder if I have a master behind me. But the more they think about it, the more mysterious my identity is. They won't dare to act recklessly, Linny said. It's good that you know. Bingtang was satisfied with Lin Yi's answer. Tonight, I'll be bringing Xiao Xiao back. Good luck. I hope that the next time I see you, you'll have strength that will make me think highly of you. Don't worry, wifey. Lin Yi smiled. Bingtang took a deep breath. She wanted to say scram, but she held it in. She didn't want to dispel Lin Yi's ambition. She wanted him to have hope. As for the existence of a first-level mystic refiner, and the existence that surpassed Sky Class, she never thought that Linny could achieve it. So it didn't matter if she rejected him or not. Linny brought Tang Yin, Mr. Tang, Mrs. Tang, and Xiao Ming, and parted ways with Bingtang, Xiao Xiao, and Xiao Qing. Xiao Xiao looked at Lin Yi and Tang Yin. She didn't want to leave. It was only a few days, but it made Xiao Xiao feel like she had returned to school. It was still the same, playing with Lin Yi and Tang Yin without any worries. But reality and imagination were different. She had to wake up from her dreams. Xiao Xiao had to accept this reality. Linny, honey, you have to work hard too. Xiao Xiao knew that if she broke through to Sky Class and Linny didn't, it'd be a tragedy for the two of them to be together. When they really had to go to Sky Class Island, Xiao Xiao didn't want to be alone. All right. Linny nodded. Don't worry. Not only will I work hard, but I'll also bring Yun Yun, Yao Yao, and Shu to our old home in Star West Village. I'll see if there's any art suitable for them. Chapter 1676. As for the practitioner's arts, Linny did ask Bingtang about it, but the Ice Palace practitioner's arts were mainly suitable for ice elements. Not everyone could use it. As for other types of arts, The Ice Palace really didn't collect them. The Ice Palace was different from the other ancient sects. They only collected according to physique, so there was no need for them to prepare other arts. No pop-up window, of course. If it was a normal one, Bingtang could find a few, but there really wasn't anything special about it. Lin Yi probably wouldn't be interested in it. This time, he had to find a suitable practitioner's art. He couldn't just find a random one. All right, I'll wait for you in the Ice Palace. Xiao Xiao hugged Lin Yi and stood on her tiptoes to kiss Lin Yi's cheek. She quickly let go of Lin Yi and said to Tang Yun, embarrassed, "Tang Yun sis, don't be jealous. I won't kiss you now, but I don't know how long it'll be before I can kiss you again. You guys might be even closer then." Xiao Xiao was bold, but with Tang Yun beside her, she was still a little shy. "Of course not," Tang Yun smiled. "Take care of yourself, don't tire yourself out." "Don't worry, Tang Yun sis." Xiao Xiao nodded. Just as Lin Yi and the others were returning to Songshan, Qibing was waiting for the good news from Bloodcloak Yellow Springs in the floating cloud bar. "I wonder if this Bloodcloak Yellow Springs is reliable. It's been so long, and there's still no news from them. Did they deal with Lin Yi?" Qibing waited for news every day, but he was always disappointed. "Master Bing, this Bloodcloak Yellow Springs is a very domineering sect, but they're not weak. If they send out 3 to 4 mystic late-phase peak masters, they should be able to take care of Lin Yi easily," Boss Zhu said. At the moment, the news about the hidden Tang family had not spread because Big Brother Tang had given a gag order. None of the guests present would speak of what happened at the birthday banquet, so it was normal that the other hidden families did not get the news. "Forget it, let's not talk about this. Sihua, how's business lately?" Qibing had spent 10 million just to kill Lin Yi. It wasn't a lot, but for someone like him who wanted to do more for House Zhao, the money he lost was the same as the money he earned. Wasn't it? The construction of the new Qibing skyscraper is almost complete, and the transformation of the slums is also in progress. Sihua said, "This time, I've decided to build the Qibing skyscraper in the slums area. I'm planning to sell the land that was in the Qibing skyscraper to get cash, or build a shopping mall." "Oh. Why did you build it in the slums area?" Qibing was taken aback. "That place. The building collapsed twice in a row, and it's a little inauspicious, so I decided to build it in the slums area on my own. It'll be more convenient to do it together with the reconstruction of the slums." Sihua said, "Master Bing, didn't you say that I can make my own decisions when it comes to business? I didn't want to disturb you, so I thought it wasn't a big deal." "Oh, I see. It wasn't a big deal in the first place." Qibing nodded. "It's better if we change the place. I feel sad whenever I see the previous place. It reminds me of the humiliation of my broken leg, and the collapse of the building twice. Changing the place will be a new beginning." "All right, but the orphanage thing hasn't been settled yet. The old dean's temper is bad and stubborn. I scared her once, but she didn't do anything," Sihua said. "After that, things kept happening here. Yawang and Uncle Zhu were both injured, so we didn't bother them anymore. Master Bing, what do you think?" "Fuck, it's one thing for Lin Yi to be cocky, but a small orphanage is acting like that? Bring some people and scare them a little more. If they don't listen, burn them down and see if they can't move." Zhao Qibing was now a core member of House Zhao. Naturally, his tone was a lot more arrogant. "Yes, Master Bing. I'll bring some people over to warn them," Sihua said. The two were discussing the development of the real estate when a man in black walked into the bar. It was the contact from Bloodcloak Underworld. Jianong didn't dare to stop him, and followed the man into the inner room. The man stood in front of Zhao Qibing and said coldly, "Zhao, you're doing this on purpose, aren't you?" "Ah." Qibing was happy to see the man in black, thinking that they'd killed Lin Yi already, but he didn't think that the man's first sentence would confuse him. "What do you mean? What are you talking about? What did I do to you? Did you kill Lin Yi or not?" "Kill? We sent 3 mystic late-phase peak masters, and all of them turned into corpses. You tell me, did you kill him?" The contact from Bloodcloak Underworld hemped coldly. "According to our people's judgment, Lin Yi's side is at least an Earth class, and I think there's more than one Earth class. Otherwise, how could 3 of us mystic late-phase peak masters die? What kind of information are you providing?" "Ah." All three are dead? Qibing froze. Are you serious? Are you serious? Lin Yi is only a golden class late phase peak. Even if he wasn't poisoned, he's only a mystic late phase peak. You sent 3 mystic late phase peak masters like Lin Yi, and 3 of them didn't kill him? Nonsense. Our people are dead now. The man in black said coldly. Zhao, what do you mean? I told you not to hide your strength, and you still dare to hide it? Do you think that Blood Cloak Underworld is a pushover? What did I hide? Qibing raged. That Lin Yi is a mystic late phase peak master, and he participated in the Ice Palace's test. We all know how strong he is. If he was above Earth class, how could he participate in the test? So you're saying that it was Lin Yi who broke through? The man in black asked. I don't know about that, but I'm not lying. Qibing was both shocked and furious. He didn't think that 3 mystic late phase peak masters would be killed by Lin Yi. Fuck, why was Lin Yi so cruel? Thank God he didn't ask Boss Xu to help, or Boss Xu would have been killed as well. But Zhao Qibing couldn't understand how Lin Yi could kill 3 masters at the peak of the late phase of the Mystic Division. Even if Lin Yi was an Earth-class early phase master, he wouldn't be able to do that easily, not to mention that Lin Yi was poisoned? Chapter 1677. I don't care if you're lying or not. Our losses are all because of you. 3 masters of the late phase peak of the Mystic class are gone just like that. Within half a year, you have to pay us 300 million as funeral fees, or else, haha. The man in black didn't finish his sentence, but it wasn't hard to imagine that Zhao Qibing and the others would be buried with him. 300 million? Zhao Qibing took in a cold breath. He hadn't earned much recently, and now he had to pay 300 million? Wasn't this a joke? That's right, you have to accept this price whether you want to or not. I'm just informing you. The man said, remember, I'll be back to collect the debt in half a year. Don't even think about running away. Even if you run to the ends of the earth, you won't be able to escape from us. Bloodcloak Yellow Spring Sect knew that Zhao Qibing wouldn't be able to take out 300 million at once, so they gave them half a year. Of course, Bloodcloak Yellow Spring Sect was basically an ancient sect, so they weren't afraid of the hidden House Zhao. They were a nest of assassins, and no one knew where their headquarters was. Therefore, ordinary people didn't dare to provoke such a sect. Otherwise, no matter where you went, there would be experts chasing after you all day long. How could you do other things? With that, the black-clothed man left, leaving Zhao Qibing gritting his teeth in anger. Fuck, what the hell? You're asking for money when you're dead? Qibing was pissed. If he really wanted to kill Lin Yi, he could have just asked for 300 million. He'd get the money even if he had to sell everything he had, but now, wasn't this 300 million too much of a waste? Funeral fees? Master Bing, we have to pay them, and we can't go back on our word. Otherwise, there'll be big problems in the future. Boss Zhu said sadly, Master Bing, I'm really sorry about this. I didn't expect the Bloodcloth Underworld sect to fail. They have a good reputation in the industry. Who knew this time? It's fine, Boss Zhu. Money is just a worldly possession, but it won't be a problem to get 300 million in half a year. But, Sai, it's all for nothing. Zhao Qibing waved his hand. To him, losing 300 million was nothing, but Boss Zhu was an Earth-class master, and he cared a lot about it. It's fine, Master Bing. I've saved a lot of money over the years, and I can still afford 300 million. I'll pay it. I'm happy to hear that. Boss Zhu saw that Master Bing didn't blame him, and instead comforted him. He was touched and decided to pay the 300 million himself. Boss Zhu was an Earth-class master after all. He had taken on a lot of private jobs over the years, and earned a lot of extra money. 300 million was still within his reach. He didn't spend much on normal days, unlike the hidden Zhao family, which had a lot of income but a lot of expenses. They didn't have much money left every year. All right. Then consider this 300 million as a loan from me. When I take charge of the Zhao family, I will definitely give you a great merit. Zhao Qibing didn't reject it. After all, he needed money now, and he had to take credit from the house. If he gave it all to the Bloodcloak Underworld sect, he'd be looked down upon by his family. With Master Bing's words, I will do anything for you. Boss Zhu said. Don't mention this in the house. Let bygones be bygones, just treat it as a lesson. Fuck, if only we told them that Lin Yi was an Earth-class master, and they'd send a Sky-class master to kill Lin Yi. It wouldn't be more than 300 million. It's such a waste of money. Zhao Qibing said helplessly. Indeed, but who would have thought that Lin Yi leveled up again? Didn't we think of saving money back then? Killing a golden-class master only cost 10 million, but killing an Earth-class master would cost more than 200 million. Boss Zhu smiled bitterly. Sometimes it's really a big loss to be greedy. Forget it, Sihua. Go and study the demolition. Try to earn as much money as possible to recoup the loss of 300 million. Qibing ordered. Yes. Sihua finished. Then I'll contact the people from the orphanage again in the next few days. If they still don't know what's good for them, then don't blame us for being impolite. In the orphanage, the dean and Yu Xiaoke were worried about the relocation of the orphanage, but after such a long time, there was no news from Qibing Real Estate. The two of them thought that they had given up on developing the land for the orphanage, and breathed a sigh of relief. Spending money like water. It seems like we'll have to find something to do after a while. We can't just sit around and eat, can we? Xiaoke couldn't help but frown as she spoke to the dean. The treasures she brought from the tomb were being used up quickly. It's not sitting around and eating. Xiaoke, convert the money you brought back into money and deposit it in the bank. The interest every year should be enough to maintain the orphanage's expenses. As long as it doesn't increase the expenses too much, there shouldn't be a problem. The dean said, "Don't do this anymore, it's too dangerous. When you came back from robbing tombs, I was scared when you told me about it. I'm afraid it was even more dangerous back then." Yeah, but what else can I do if I don't do this? Xiaoke had been unemployed at home recently, and didn't find anything that could earn her money. It was even harder for her to be a thief. Because of the bank robbery in Songshan, there were patrol cars everywhere. Xiaoke didn't dare to go out and commit crimes. As for robbing tombs, Xiaoke really didn't dare to do it anymore. After the last time, she realized how dangerous it was. If it wasn't for the male thief protecting her, she would have died a long time ago. Male thief. Xiaoke blushed at the thought of him. This was the first time she had fallen in love with him, caring for her everywhere, not letting her get hurt at all. In Xiaoke's heart, the male thief's figure had been deeply imprinted. She didn't know what he looked like, didn't know if he was handsome or not, but that wasn't important to her. She only liked the male thief who covered his face and blocked her way. Xiaoke, you've worried about the orphanage for so many years and spent so much effort. Now that the orphanage has nothing to worry about, you should find someone to marry. You can't stay in the orphanage for the rest of your life, right? This isn't a place for a young girl like you to stay in. The dean looked at Xiaoke's blushing face. How could she not know what she was thinking? Chapter 1678. The dean was young once, and she had her own love. Naturally, she encouraged Xiaoke to pursue her own happiness. Xiaoke felt embarrassed when the dean saw through her thoughts. Chino pop-up window, haha. Is it that Lin Yi? The dean smiled. Why hasn't he come recently? It's not him. Xiaoke shook her head. Although Lin Yi helped her a few times, she didn't have the same feelings towards Lin Yi as she did towards the male thief. Plus, Lin Yi was an annoying person. How could he say that someone else's martial arts were useless? How infuriating. Oh, it's not him? That's... Before the old dean could finish his words, someone rushed into the room. Dean, Manager Li from Qibing Real Estate is here. He said that he wants to discuss the relocation of our orphanage. Ken walked in and said to the dean, "Oh, why are they here again?" The dean frowned. She didn't expect that the people from Qibing Real Estate would come to her door again. Xiaoke, rest first. I'll go with Ken. Dean, do you need me to go with you? Xiaoke was worried when she heard that the people from Qibing Real Estate were here. Master Bing said that if the orphanage didn't agree to the relocation, he would teach the orphanage a lesson. It's useless even if you go. The old dean waved his hand and said, "Your strength is too weak. If they want to make a move, it will be futile even if you go. If they negotiate peacefully, then you won't be able to make the decision even if you go. It's better for you to rest. This period of time has been enough for you." All right then. Xiaoke didn't force it. After all, the dean was telling the truth. Xiaoke wasn't good at negotiating. What if she said something she shouldn't, and made both parties unhappy? Dean and Ken walked out of Xiaoka's room, and she turned on the TV casually. She was about to change the channel when she heard a piece of news on the TV. What's going on? This is Songshan News Bulletin. We're broadcasting an important piece of news. Under the heavy assault of our city's police force, we've arrested the grave robbers couple, James Grave Robber Gang, Old Hay Grave Robber Gang, and a few other grave robbers gang members. They're currently being held at the detention center. This case will be heard in XX City's court tomorrow. The criminals will be escorted to XX City's detention center tonight. Due to the large number of criminals, this section will be temporarily closed at 10 p.m. for half an hour. Drivers, please avoid this time period or take a detour. Yu Xiaoka didn't hear the rest of the news, but she did hear that the tomb robbers couple had been caught in one fell swoop. Did that mean that the male thief had also been caught? Xiaoka didn't know if there was some kind of internal conflict between the grave robbers, or else why would so many of them be caught at the same time? But no matter what the reason was, Xiaoka didn't care. What she cared about was the male thief. The male thief was caught, and he was going to be sent to the court tomorrow? Xiaoka stood up abruptly, pacing around the room in panic. If the case really went to court, with the amount of money that the male thief had stolen, he could be sentenced to life imprisonment or even death. How could Xiaoka watch the man she loved die? But what could Xiaoka do? She could only watch the news. She didn't know who to ask. The first person she thought of was Lingshan, but she never got along with Lingshan. What if she got caught before she could find out anything? That wouldn't be worth it. What should she do? Rob the execution field. A scene from a TV show popped up in Xiaoka's mind. This thought scared Xiaoka herself. But as soon as the idea popped up, Xiaoka couldn't help but want to do it. She had no other choice. Although this decision was very dangerous, and she might die a horrible death, Xiaoka didn't regret it. If it weren't for the male thief, she would have died a long time ago. Now that he was caught, he might be sentenced to death as well. Xiaoka thought that since they couldn't be together in life, they might as well die together. Love always made people impulsive. And although impulsiveness was the devil, Xiaoka couldn't stop herself from doing it. But if she died, what would happen to the children in the orphanage? With that thought, Xiaoka hesitated again. She liked the male thief, and she wanted to sacrifice herself for love, but the children in the orphanage were behind her. It was an invisible mission and responsibility, and she had to think about the children's future before she did it. On one side was love and loyalty, and on the other side was the children in the orphanage. This was the first time Xiaoka was in a dilemma. She had never liked anyone before, and she put all her heart and soul into the children in the orphanage. But this time, she had the shadow of the male thief in her heart. But if she didn't take care of the male thief's safety, she would feel guilty for the rest of her life. She remembered that the headmaster said that the money she got from robbing the tombs would be enough for the orphanage's future expenses. Xiaoka let out a sigh of relief. Xiao Qian was all grown up now, so she should let him take care of the orphanage? She didn't need to do dangerous things anymore, and she only needed him to take care of the children. This way, Xiaoka could die in peace. Even if she died, she wouldn't have to worry about anything. With that thought, Xiaoka made her decision. She would talk to Xiao Qian later and let him take care of the orphanage. Then, she would carry out her big plan. Sihua's main purpose for coming to the orphanage this time was to scare the orphanage into moving, but the dean was adamant about it. They could move, but they had to replace it with a ready-made orphanage that they could use. The land alone was out of the question. The orphanage wasn't a real estate company, so what was the use of land? As a result, the negotiations didn't go smoothly at all. Sihua, on the other hand, left some harsh words before he left. Dean, I'd advise you to agree to our company's proposal. Otherwise, humph, you'll end up with nothing in the end. You don't even have this condition. Sihua said. The headmaster didn't reply to Sihua's words. He had the strength of a golden class, but because of his severe internal injuries, he couldn't even use half of his strength. Target =_blank. Chapter 1679. Besides, Sihua had made it clear that they had an earth class. If he didn't know what was good for him, then the consequences would be very serious. In fact, the old director also wanted to find a quieter place to rebuild an orphanage. But rebuilding the orphanage required funds. And it was not something that could be achieved with just a thought. To be honest, if Li Sihua found a secluded piece of land and built an orphanage on it, and so did the dean, they would agree to the exchange. The position was of no use to these children, and the old dean hoped that these children would living a better life. Takitara, however, a piece of land was completely useless to the old dean. Even so, the old dean knew that he had no choice but to accept it. If they persisted, they might anger Sihua and Zhao Qibing. What would they do then? Things might not necessarily turn out that way. In order not to worry Xiaoke, the dean didn't tell her about this. She was the one who was responsible for this. He was talking to Sihua alone, not even Qin knew about it. At this moment, Qin had been called back by Xiaoke and was making arrangements for his funeral. Xiaoqin, you've grown up. I'll leave the orphanage to you in the future. You'll help the orphanage. Boss, take care of everything, Xiaoke said solemnly to Xiaoqin. Xiaoqin was a little muddled. He didn't know what was going on when Xiaoke suddenly called him here. Xiaoke's straightforward words confused him. Sister Xiaoke, I've been assisting you all along. Are you and the old director managing the orphanage? Yes, but from now on, it's just you. Xiaoke sighed. Xiaoyao, you're the only one. But I might not be able to help you anymore. Ah, Sister Xiaoke, are you leaving the orphanage? Xiaoqin was stunned. You are going to marry? Where is he? When Xiaoqin said this, he was a little disappointed. Yu Xiao was an older boy, the goddess in their hearts, but she was just a goddess. They didn't dare to do anything to Yu Xiaoke. Divide and think. Holy Church, more or less. Xiaoke nodded. You have to promise Xiaoke sis that you'll do it in the future. Take care of your brothers and sisters in the orphanage. Okay. Big sister Xiaoke, will you come back often? Xiaoqin was a little reluctant. I might not be able to come back. Xiaoke sighed and decided to tell the truth. Xiaoqin had grown up, and he was a sensible child. Most importantly, he was a loyal child. Son, you know how to repay kindness. So if Xiaoke told him, he'd probably understand her feelings. Can't come back? What do you mean? Qin felt that something was wrong with Xiaoke. He asked, Sister Xiaoke, what are you trying to say? Why does it look like you're going to the execution ground? Xiaoqin was just joking, but he didn't expect that he would hit the mark. Hee, it's about the same. Xiaoke nodded and said, Xiaoqin, Xiaoke sis. This time, I'm actually going to save someone. Save someone? Who does Sister Xiaoke want to save? Xiaoqin asked curiously. A person who treats Big Sister Xiaoke very well. Big Sister Xiaoke also likes him very much. He is Big Sister Xiaoke, the prince on a white horse in my heart. Xiaoke said as she started to explain everything in detail. She told Xiaoqin everything once more. She didn't tell the dean about these things back then. Xiaoke purposely hid the ambiguous feelings between her and the male thief. But now she didn't hide it from Xiaoqin. She put it in her heart. She told Xiaoqin all the things that she had been holding back for a long time. This time, Xiaoke had made up her mind. There was no turning back, so the details of the matter were clear. She had to explain everything clearly. Ah, Sister Xiaoke, you're going to the execution ground? You don't want to live anymore? Xiaoqin's eyes widened. Even if the male thief helped you before, you can't do something stupid like this. If you go, you'll be able to come back? Really? Not only won't you be able to save him, but you'll also die. Hee, I've thought about this a long time ago. Xiaoke shook her head helplessly. I know. With my current strength, it's extremely hard to save someone. But if I don't go, I'll never be able to get over it. If I don't go, I'll never be able to get over it. If I die, then so be it. I like him, and I'll die for him. I'm willing. Xiaoqin, you're still young. You don't know what it's like to love someone. Who says I don't understand? Xiaoqin's face turned red, and he hurriedly said, I like Sister Xiaoke. I don't want to let her go. Go and die. This isn't the same. Yu Xiao laughed. Xiaoqin, your liking is just a form of worship. After I leave, you will be the backbone of the orphanage. Those children will love you and respect you, worship you. Now that everything in the orphanage has been stabilized, I can leave in peace. Qin knew Xiaoke's personality. She was a very stubborn and strong-willed person. What had been decided would be done, but Xiaoqin really didn't want Xiaoka to die. She was destined to never return, so she said, "Sister Xiaoka, isn't your boyfriend, big brother Lin Yi? How did he fall in love with someone else? Brother Lin Yi is so good. Why do you have to like a nobody? Meow's male thief?" Lin Yi, haha, that's just a misunderstanding. Xiaoka shook her head. There's nothing between us. Lin Yi is a good person, but he always looks down on me. I don't have any feelings for him. But men. Robber is different. I like him. You. Sister Xiaoka, have you spoken to the dean? Xiaoqin really had no choice. She could only bring up the dean's name, hoping that the dean would stop Xiaoka and not let her go. Do something stupid. Don't tell the old dean about this. I'll leave her a letter, and you can pass it to her for me. Xiaoka sighed. She knew that the dean loved her as if she was his own daughter. Therefore, if the old dean knew about this, he would definitely take the risk with him. But Xiaoka didn't want the dean to take the risk with her, so she decided to leave first. Orphanage site Xiaoqin could replace him, but oh well, president absolutely couldn't be without him. So Xiaoka said to Xiaoqin seriously, "Xiaoqin, you are the oldest and the most sensible one. You know, if the old dean finds out about this, she will definitely accompany me." She was the most sensible one. You know, if the old dean knew about this, she would definitely accompany me. If there's danger, will you let her go? But Xiaoqin knew that Xiaoka was telling the truth after hearing her words. This made Xiaoqin hesitate. He was in a difficult position. On one hand, he didn't want Xiaoka to take the risk. On the other hand, he knew Xiaoka's personality. Once she decided to do something, she would do it no matter how hard it was. Target =_blank. Chapter 1680. No buts. Xiaoqin, promise me that you'll take good care of the kids in the orphanage, okay? Xiaoka stared at Xiaoqin without blinking. Okay. Xiaoqin had no choice but to nod under Xiaoka's gaze. I'll try my best. But Xiaoka sis, you have to be careful. If you can't do it, don't do it. Just do it. Haha, there's a type of love called going through life and death together, and there's a type of love called risking one's life. Xiaoqin laughed. But Xiaoka sis, you and that male thief. There's no love. Xiaoqin tried to persuade Xiaoka. There's a type of love called love at first sight, and there's a type of love called moths flying into flames, Xiaoka said. She said, although it was only for a short moment, it was engraved in my heart. At that moment, his love for me was deeply engraved in my heart. His love for me at that moment is something I'll never forget. Ah. Xiaoqin looked at Xiaoka, not knowing what to say. He didn't know how to say it. He knew that no matter what he said, Xiaoka would do it. There was no point in saying it. Don't frown. Without Xiaoka sis, you'll be the big brother of the orphanage from now on. You need to take care of your brothers and sisters. What do you look like now? Xiaoka laughed. Don't let me leave in peace. Okay. Xiaoqin nodded helplessly. Then when are you leaving? Tonight at 10. It's 7 now, I should be leaving. Xiaoka said, there's still some distance from XX detention center. There's still some distance to the XX detention center, so I have to make preparations in advance. And so, Xiaoka left a letter in front of Xiaoqin, and left the orphanage. Xiaoqin took Xiaoka's letter. Xiaoka told him to give it to the old house tomorrow. Elder, don't give it to the dean right after she leaves. The dean will catch up to her if that happens. Things will become more troublesome. What should I do? What should I do? Xiaoqin didn't want anything to happen to Xiaoka, but with his abilities, he couldn't stop or help Xiaoka. He didn't know martial arts, so he wouldn't be able to help Xiaoka even if he went. He was busy, but he couldn't trouble the dean. Suddenly, Xiaoqin had a flash of inspiration. He thought of someone. Perhaps this person could help Xiaoka. This person was Lin Yi. The man Ken had mistaken for Xiaoka's boyfriend, his Xiaoka sis husband. But from the looks of it, that didn't seem to be the case. But that was not important. What was important was that Lin Yi seemed to be very good at martial arts. Tall, very powerful. If he could help Sister Xiaoka, then Sister Xiaoka would win. The odds should be quite high. The problem was, would Lin Yi help Xiaoka? Ken was hesitant. She asked Lin Yi for help, but not only did Lin Yi refuse to help, He even leaked the information to the police. That would be even more dangerous. But Ken remembered that Yu Xiaoxiao had been injured by Lingshan last time, and it was Lin Yi who had saved her. If he wanted to tell Lingshan about Xiaoke, he would have told her already. He wouldn't have waited until now. Therefore, Xiao Ken was relieved again. He had Lin Yi's number in his hands. Lin Yi had left it for him last time. He didn't think that he would actually need it. Lin Yi had just sent Tang Yun, Mr. Tang, Mrs. Tang, and Xiao Ming back to House Tang's new house. He drove back to House Chu's villa, telling Ming Yao and Yushu about what happened at House Tang. Suddenly his phone rang. Lin Yi thought that it was Tang Yun, but the number on the phone was unfamiliar. It was an existing number in the phone book, a local landline number in Songshan. Hello? Lin Yi picked up. Hello. The other side was silent for a while before saying, hello. Who are you looking for? What's the matter? The other side didn't say anything. Lin Yi didn't know what was going on. How strange. In fact, Xiao Ken was organizing his words. He called Lin Yi out of impulse, but he didn't know how to tell Lin Yi about this. I'm Xiao Ken. Xiao Ken said carefully. Do you remember me? Xiao Ken? Oh, I remember you. You're the kid from the orphanage, right? Lin Yi pondered for a while and remembered Xiao Ken. He remembered Ken, the boy who worshipped Xiaoke a little. It's me. Xiao Ken heard that Lin Yi remembered him and was happy. You're sometimes now? Sometimes. Now? What's the matter? Lin Yi paused and asked. It was almost nighttime. It was 8 o'clock. What could Xiao Ken be looking for him at this time? Plus, it wasn't Xiaoke who was looking for him. Usually, Xiaoke would be the one who contacted him about the orphanage. But Xiao Ken calling him meant that he was looking for him behind Xiaoke's back. This made Lin Yi confused. And, I have something important to talk to you about. Can I see you? It's urgent. Xiao Ken said with certainty. Okay, where are you? I'll come to you now. Lin Yi hesitated and agreed. He had a good impression of Xiao Ken. So if Xiao Ken asked him for help, it wouldn't be very troublesome. He'd still agree to help if it wasn't something too troublesome. I'm at the orphanage. Xiao Ken said. Then I'll wait for you in the alley in front of the orphanage. I want to see you alone. All right, I'll head over now. Lin Yi nodded, feeling more and more excited after hearing what Ken said. He was sure that Xiao Ken was contacting him behind Xiaoke's back. After hanging up, Yushu asked, Shield bro, it's so late. Are you going out? And I have something to do. Xiao Ken from the orphanage is looking for me. It seems urgent. Lin Yi said. Oh, then come back early. Big sis Yao Yao and I are getting excited listening to it. You used the rising dragon fist. How badly did you beat that blue-haired guy? Yushu was getting anxious. Haha, I'll tell you guys when I get back. Lin Yi stood up with a smile, picking up his car keys. He picked up the car key and walked out of the mansion. Lin Yi planned to ask Faubert about martial arts. Jiao Yazi didn't know anything. The only person Lin Yi could ask was Faubert. Faubert used to be an Earth-class master. He must have some understanding of martial arts. It was his fault. He didn't understand the Earth class before, and he didn't know that the Earth class was a dividing line. It was the beginning of the path to a higher level. He thought it was the same as the Mystic and Golden class. He only used chi and punches to fight the enemy. Chapter 1681. After getting in the car, Lin Yi went directly to the orphanage. In the alley of the orphanage, Lin Yi saw a young man with a strange face. His face was anxious as he looked left and right, waiting for Lin Yi's Xiao Ken. Did you wait too long? Let's talk in the car. Lin Yi drove the car to Xiao Ken's side. He said, Ah, brother Lin Yi, you're here. Xiao Ken's face lit up when he saw Lin Yi. She quickly got into Lin Yi's car. After Xiao Ken got in the car, Lin Yi parked the car in the roadside parking space, then said to Xiao Ken, Can you say it now? Why are you looking for me so urgently? And Xiao Ken quickly nodded. Brother Lin Yi, something happened to Sister Xiao Ku. Can you help her? Help her? Little Ku? What happened to her? Lin Yi was stunned after hearing Xiao Ken's words. Lin Yi hadn't seen Xiaoke for a long time after the tomb raid, but he still felt a little nervous. At this moment, Yu Xiaoke's cute and shy face appeared clearly in front of Lin Yi. It was as if the moment Xiaoke spoke her mind happened yesterday, and he could still remember it vividly. Yeah, right. He had developed a slight liking for the girl, but the two of them were destined to never cross paths again. His identity had already become a part of history, and he would never appear in front of the world again. Hearing that Xiaoke was in trouble, Lin Yi's heart tightened. He still cared about her. Although the sanctuary, however, just like Yuning's eagle at that time, the male thief also had a different identity. This was one of Lin Yi's identities. Sister Xiaoke is going to rob the execution ground. Can you help her? Otherwise, she won't be able to return. Xiao Qian said anxiously. Rob the execution ground? Lin Yi was stunned. Rob what execution ground? Don't tell me you've watched too many dramas? No. It's like this. Xiao Qian didn't dare to hide anything and told Xiaoke everything. He relayed what he said to Lin Yi. Xiao Qian had a good memory and almost didn't miss a word. He told Lin Yi. What? You're saying that Xiaoke is going to save the male thief? Lin Yi's eyes widened. He didn't know what to say. However, Xiaoke's words made Lin Yi's heart sour. There is a kind of love called going through thick and thin together, regardless of personal safety. Love at first sight, like a moth flying into a flame. This was the love between Xiaoke and the male thief. The two had gone through life and death together in the tomb. Robber's protection made Xiaoke fall in love with him at first sight, which was why she was throwing herself at him like a moth. Fire. She knew she couldn't do it, but she still did it. This was proof of Xiaoke's thoughts. Yeah, big brother Lin Yi, can you help her? Xiao Qian was a little worried. He was afraid that Lin Yi would also. He liked Xiaoke, but he knew that Xiaoke would be unhappy if she liked someone else, so he just left her alone. But she couldn't lie to Lin Yi either. This silly girl is really. Lin Yi smiled bitterly. Rob the execution ground? She thought it was ancient. What about TV dramas? Easy for you to say. Yeah. Then, what should we do? Xiao Qian didn't know what Lin Yi really meant, so he could only keep quiet. She asked. All right, leave it to me. I'll go help her. However, don't tell anyone about me helping her. I may help her secretly. Lin Yi pondered for a moment and said to Xiao Qian. Okay. Xiao Qian was stunned. What does Lin Yi mean? Doing a good deed without leaving your name? Or actually, he likes Sister Xiaoke too. He didn't want Sister Xiaoke to know that he was helping Sister Xiaoke to save Brother Xiaoke. Love rival? But no matter what, it was a good thing that Lin Yi agreed. Xiao Qian's request to Lin Yi, he agreed without hesitation. All right, then it's settled. Lin Yi said. Go back. I'll definitely let Sister Xiaoke return to the orphanage safely. All right, it's settled then. Lin Yi couldn't just ignore this matter. Xiaoke went to save the male thief, but the male thief still died. Lin Yi, the real male thief, died a long time ago. What was the point of saving him? The people locked up in the detention center were the couple's accomplices. The news didn't explain it in detail. After letting Xiao Qian get out of the car, Lin Yi didn't go straight to the detention center. Instead, he went home first. From the warehouse, he took out the male thief's mask and rushed to the detention center. Near the detention center, Lin Yi put on the male thief's mask. After parking the car, he put on the male thief's mask and got out of the car. Lin Yi had the experience of being an assassin before, so it was easy for him to know where to hide in a terrain. Hiding and observing movements were Lin Yi's expertise. According to Lin Yi's initial observation, he quickly confirmed that there were two possible locations for Xiaoke to hide in. Two possible locations for Xiaoke to hide in. Lin Yi speculated based on his own situation. If he were Xiaoke, where would he hide? Therefore, he easily came to these two conclusions. Xiaoke hid on the right side of the detention center, on top of a big tree. This was a good hiding spot. The lush branches and leaves could not only hide from the surveillance cameras, but also allow Xiaoke to easily see the movements in front of the detention center. But even so, Xiaoke was still very depressed. Because when Xiaoke arrived here, she felt that she was very small. Just now, there were already more than 10 police cars entering the detention center, and there were also fully armed. Just now, there were already more than 10 police cars entering the detention center, and there were also fully armed cars leading the way. In this situation, Xiaoke wanted to rely on her own strength to steal away one person. That was simply a pipe dream. Not to mention the fully armed escort team. Even if Wuxia could hide from these eyes, even if Wuxia could hide from these eyes and chase, it would be extremely difficult to find the car with the male thief in it. Finding the car with the male thief in it out of so many cars was an extremely difficult task. She couldn't just open every car to take a look, right? If that happened, Wuxia would have been caught or beaten to death. Sigh, this is so depressing. Wuxia, that Linny was right about you. Your skills are really mediocre. You really hate yourself when you're weak. Wuxia muttered to herself. She said, if you know that you're weak, you can just fight more normally. A low voice came from behind Wuxia. It was a low male voice. It's not that easy. Gee. Wuxia replied subconsciously, but she was shocked. He was startled and nearly fell from the tree. Why was there someone talking? Wasn't she the only one on the tree? Since when was there another person? What? Xiaoka turned around in fear, only to see a masked man. But this masked man didn't scare Wuxia anymore. Instead, Wuxia was surprised and happy. You. Me what? Linny asked. You. Shouldn't you be in there? Wuxia pointed at the guard not far away. So, she rubbed her eyes in surprise and looked at Linny again. Am I mistaken? You're really a male thief? Target =_blank. Chapter 1682. Does the flying sparrow have amnesia and forgot about me so quickly? Linny joked. Why would I go there? Didn't they say that the gang of the burglar couple had been wiped out? Xiaoka could confirm after hearing Lin Yi's words that the person in front of her was the male thief she liked. Let's not talk about me first. What are you doing here? Lin Yi asked. No pop-up window, Chie. I'm just here to take a look. Xiaoka's face reddened. She didn't dare to say that she was here to rob the execution ground. That would be too arrogant. What are you looking at? You heard that I was caught and you want to save me? Lin Yi looked at Xiaoka with a smile that wasn't a smile, but with the mask on, Xiaoka couldn't see Lin Yi's expression. Xiaoka's face reddened even more as Lin Yi hit the nail on the head. I just wanted to see if there was a way. Then why did you come here? I heard that you wanted to save me, so I came to save you. Lin Yi said honestly. Don't do something like this next time. I'm fine, don't worry. I'm nervous. Xiaoka wasn't convinced by Lin Yi's words. You save me every time I want. I want to do something for you. Go take care of the orphanage. The children there need you. Don't do something like this again. I just happened to know this time. And if I didn't come, the consequences would be unimaginable. Lin Yi said, don't do something so impulsive in the future. Then, you didn't appear after that, and I couldn't contact you. Xiaoka looked at Lin Yi and said stubbornly, if you visit me every once in a while, then I won't come anymore, right? Lin Yi looked at Xiaoka speechless. Xiaoka's request really put Lin Yi in a difficult position. If it weren't for the fact that he had no other choice, Lin Yi wouldn't have picked up the identity of the male thief and appeared in front of Xiaoka. The male thief was a thing of the past. He was a fragment of Xiaoka's memory, a memory that would never appear again. However, Lin Yi had no choice but to appear. Lin Yi didn't want to appear in front of Xiaoka as Lin Yi. He couldn't just run over and tell Xiaoka that he was the male thief and that the male thief was fine, right? Not only would that ruin Xiaoka's beautiful dream, but it would also bring him trouble. Xiaoka seemed to be unhappy with Lin Yi, so Lin Yi thought about it for a long time and decided to use the identity of the male thief to persuade Xiaoka. It was more convincing, and this was also why he told Ken to keep it a secret. Otherwise, if Xiaoka went back and Ken said that he was the one who looked for him, with Xiaoka's intelligence, she wouldn't be able to figure out the connection. I can't appear. Lin Yi sighed and rejected Xiaoka's suggestion. I have my own life. In this world, other than the identity of the male thief, I have another identity. I've already washed my hands of the male thief identity, and I don't want to break my peaceful life. Then, can you tell me who you are in real life? Xiaoka asked carefully. We only met in the tomb, and the one you like is the male thief in the tomb. It's not the me in real life. Lin Yi said. If you knew who I am in real life, there would be a huge psychological gap. It's better to keep a bit of mystery and maintain a beautiful image. I won't. The one I like is you. No matter what you look like in real life, I like you. Xiaoke said. I've washed my hands of the criminal world as well, so we're equal now. Lin Yi smiled. Since you've washed your hands of the criminal world, then forget about the past. Just pretend that the male thief is dead. But you're not dead, and you appeared in front of me again. Xiaoke suddenly said. Right, you're afraid that your girlfriend will find out if I find you after knowing your identity, right? You can say that. Lin Yi didn't answer Xiaoke's question directly. You can say that. That's it. Xiaoke was a little disappointed. Don't worry, I won't disturb you. I just want to know who you are, and if I can see you once in a while, I'll be at ease knowing that you're safe. Forget about that. Lin Yi didn't agree to Xiaoke's suggestion in the end. I'll leave first, you should go back too. You're leaving? You're not going to care about your underlings? Xiaoke paused. Underlings? I've washed my hands of the criminal world already, and I have nothing to do with them. Lin Yi smiled bitterly in his heart. Underlings? These people were sent to prison by him and Lingshan, and they were underlings. Oh. Xiaoke nodded. Then I'll go with you? Go back. Perhaps you'll be able to catch up to me next time. Lin Yi turned around and disappeared into the night, not taking a single leaf with him. Xiaoke rubbed her eyes, shocked. No way? So fast. But no matter what, Xiaoke was still in a very good mood. She was a little disappointed that the male thief didn't reveal his true identity, but the fact that he was here for her meant that he still cared about her. Last time, the male thief had said that he wouldn't appear as the male thief ever again, but this time, he still did. Xiaoke was confident that in the near future, she would be able to meet him again. With that thought, Xiaoke was filled with confidence once more. She quickly jumped down from the tree and ran towards the orphanage. Since Lin Yi was fine, the other members of the couple had nothing to do with Xiaoke. Naturally, she wouldn't stay here anymore. Xiaoken let out a breath of relief when he saw Xiaoke return to the orphanage. It seemed like Lin Yi really did keep his promise and let Xiaoke return safely. Xiaoken wanted to ask about Lin Yi, but he remembered the promise he made with Lin Yi. Lin Yi said that he would help Xiaoke sis in the dark, so he didn't ask. He was a man of his words, and since he promised Lin Yi he wouldn't say anything. He was a little surprised. Xiaoke sis, you're back? Did you successfully see the male thief? Yes, I saw him. Xiaoke nodded excitedly. I saw him and he wasn't caught. I don't know where he heard that I was coming to save him. So he came to stop me. That's not right. How did he know? Chapter 1683. Xiaoke was immersed in the joy of reuniting with the male thief, and didn't think about the details. But now that she was back at the orphanage and calmed down, she felt that something wasn't right. She only told Xiaoken about this, so how did the male thief know? Male thief? He went to stop you? Xiaoken paused. He thought that Lin Yi had helped Xiaoke, but he didn't think that the male thief would appear in front of her personally. This meant that the male thief hadn't been caught, and this male thief seemed to be someone Lin Yi found? After all, he had asked Lin Yi for help, and then the male thief appeared right after. He wouldn't believe that it had nothing to do with Lin Yi. Yeah, how did he know that I went to the execution? Xiaoken, did you tell anyone about me? Xiaoke frowned as she looked at Xiaoku. Xiaoken didn't know what to say. He promised Lin Yi that he wouldn't tell anyone, but he was curious. What did the male thief look like? He still looked the same, wearing a mask. Xiaoke said, what's wrong? No. Then what is he wearing? Xiaoken suddenly had an inexplicable premonition in his heart. He was wearing a normal white shirt, beige pants. What's wrong? Xiaoke recalled what the male thief was wearing and said, You didn't see him before, did you? Xiaoken's eyes widened after hearing Xiaoke's words. It couldn't be, right? White shirt, beige pants. Wasn't that what Lin Yi was wearing? Xiaoken had a good memory, so he remembered it clearly. Could it be that the male thief that Xiaoke saw was Lin Yi in disguise? That didn't seem right. Xiaoken shook his head inwardly. How could Lin Yi have the male thief's mask? How could he know what the male thief's mask looked like? He didn't even know what the male thief's mask looked like. Sister Xiaoke had never told him about it. Xiaoken naturally wouldn't repeat it to Lin Yi. Then where did Lin Yi's mask come from? Was the male thief Lin Yi? Or could it be that Lin Yi knew the male thief from the start, and so he pretended to be him to stop Xiaoke from coming back? But if that was the case, then there were still two suspicious points. First, since the male thief was the one Xiaoke liked, she should have a deep impression of him. Wouldn't she be able to tell if someone was pretending to be him? Secondly, where was Linny going to find the male thief's mask in such a short time? If that was the case, then the only possibility left was that Linny was the male thief, or that Linny knew the male thief and could find him to stop Xiaoke. However, these two possibilities were a little too unbelievable. But that didn't mean it was impossible, and Kim was leaning towards the first guess. Could it be that Yu Xiaoqiao was wearing the same clothes as Lin Yi? I haven't seen it before. But when you left, I think I saw someone wearing the same clothes following you. I wanted to warn you, but you guys ran too fast and disappeared in the blink of an eye. Xiaoqin had no choice but to lie. I thought I was seeing wrongly. I didn't think that it was the male thief. Ah? He followed me? Then he must have heard our conversation. Could it be that he guessed that I would go save him after seeing the news, so he came here early? Xiaoke didn't know what was going on. It was a small possibility, but it was the only explanation that made sense. I don't know either. Xiao Ken's heart was in turmoil. It couldn't be this coincidental, right? Lin Yi was the male thief. It seemed that she'd made the right call, and found the right person. And Xiaoke sis didn't seem to have any feelings for Lin Yi. It's fine. Go back to your work. Since there's nothing else, there's no need to give the letter to the dean. Oh, okay. Xiao Ken ran out of Xiaoke's room as if a heavy burden had been lifted from his shoulders. He felt bad lying in front of Xiaoke, so he had to leave as soon as possible so that he could relax. When Linny returned to the villa, Faubert had just returned as well. Linny hadn't been home these days, and it was Faubert and Chuntian protecting Mengyao and Yushu. Chuntian used to be alone, but he was afraid that something like the exam would happen again. So Faubert would come back every night. Today Linny was back. Faubert didn't know about it, so he went back to the villa after sending Pingzhan home. When Faubert parked his car, Lin Yi's car was parked right beside Faubert's. You're back? Faubert saw Lin Yi and said happily, Yao Yao and Shu missed you a lot, come in. Haha, Faubert, I came back a while ago, but I had to go out for a while. Lin Yi smiled. They've seen me already. I see, you've seen them already. Faubert nodded. These two missed you a lot. Since you've seen them, let's go in together. Wait for me, I'll take out some food from the car. It turned out that Faubert had bought some fast food. Lin Yi wasn't home, so there was no one to cook for Yao Yao and Shu. Sometimes, Faubert had to accompany Pengzhan to socialize, so he couldn't deliver food to them every day. As a result, they had to rely on fast food to survive. Lin Yi and Faubert walked into the villa together. Mengyao and Yushu had already washed up and were about to sleep. They didn't have much to do these days, so they slept early at home. Seeing Lin Yi walk in, Yushu said sleepily, Shield bro, you're back. I still want to listen to your stories, but I'm so tired. Then we'll talk about it tomorrow. Lin Yi smiled. There's no rush. You and Yao Yao can rest first. I have something to discuss with Faubert. Yushu was a little disappointed. I was hoping Shield bro could coax me to sleep. Alright Shu, Lin Yi just came back. If he has something to discuss with Faubert, then it must be important. Let's go to sleep first, don't disturb him. Mengyao thought about it more than Yushu. Lin Yi already said that he didn't know martial arts when he talked about what happened at House Tang, and that it was all made up. He should be studying martial arts with Faubert right now, so Mengyao naturally wouldn't disturb him. Okay. Yushu nodded with a yawn before getting dragged upstairs by Mengyao in a daze. Chapter 1684. Is there something you need from me? Faubert was a little confused. He didn't know why Lin Yi was looking for him so seriously. Faubert, you used to be in Earth class, right? Lin Yi asked. Yes, before I lost my strength, I was in Earth class. Faubert sighed, as if reminiscing about the past, a look of melancholy on his face. I don't know when I'll be able to recover my peak strength. But even if I do, I don't know who my enemies are. Don't worry, Faubert, the truth will come to light one day. Lin Yi consoled. As long as you're here, there's hope. I'm still leveling up, and you'll level up with me. When we reach Sky Class, the day we get our revenge won't be far. Yeah, it's good that you're still here, but I'm the only one left. My wife, my daughter, and my Sherfu. They're all gone. Faubert was a little helpless and unwilling. I thought I'd let it go, but ever since you raised me to mystic early phase, I couldn't suppress the fire of vengeance in my heart. I knew that one day, I might have to step on this path. I'm really sorry, maybe in the near future, I won't be able to fulfill my promise to take care of Yao Yao and the others for the rest of their lives. They and Mr. Chu's safety will have to depend on you. Look at what you're saying. Isn't it just revenge? What's the big deal? When I can raise you to Sky Class, I'll be Sky Class too, and the people around me will be Sky Class too. Lingshan, Yutian, Qintian, and Xiaoxiao, we have 6 Sky Class masters. Even an ancient sect wouldn't have such a strong lineup. Wouldn't it be a piece of cake for us to wipe out your enemy then? Linny comforted Li Fu nonchalantly after hearing the words. You're right. Uncle Fu nodded his head. At that time, with so many Heaven Stage experts, they will be able to eliminate my enemy. Hearing you say that, I am relieved and have regained a lot of confidence. Right. Why are you asking about this all of a sudden? Faubert realized that Lin Yi wouldn't bring this up for no reason. Actually, I wanted to ask you. Do you know anything about martial arts? Lin Yi asked. Martial arts? Earth class martial arts? Of course I know this. For cultivators, the Earth class is a watershed. The Golden class can only be considered as the beginning, and the Mystic class can be considered as a small achievement. But only when you reach the Earth class can you be considered to have truly stepped onto the path of cultivation. Uncle Fu said. Only when you reach the Earth class can you be considered a true cultivator. Martial techniques are their battle skills, and they have quite a bit of an advantage over Mystic and Yellow class. This is also the reason why the Hidden House Arbitration Association restricted Earth class from appearing in the common world. If they really fought, Mystic and Golden class would be no match for them. So that's how it is. Then Faubert, do you have any martial skills? Linny asked, or in other words, do you have any powerful martial skills? Of course I've practiced martial skills. Why are you suddenly asking about this? Could it be that you've already? Faubert wasn't stupid. After listening to Lin Yi's words, he was able to come to a conclusion. He looked at Lin Yi in shock. That's right. I'm already at the early stage of Earth class. Lin Yi smiled as he revealed his Earth class strength to Faubert. I didn't expect that. You actually broke through. Although Faubert knew that Lin Yi would definitely break through one day, he didn't expect it to be this fast. Before, when Lin Yi was at home, he had been looking for an opportunity to break through. However, after being poisoned by the 5-step powder, it became even more hopeless. From Faubert's point of view, Lin Yi could only wait until the antidote was removed. That would have to wait until next year. However, he didn't expect that Lin Yi was already in Earth class when he came back. Luckily, I had no choice but to eat the Qi gathering pill. Lin Yi smiled bitterly. It's a bit of a waste to eat it, but it's still useful. You ate the Qi gathering pill? Faubert was stunned. Don't tell me you don't know about the drawbacks of the Qi gathering pill. Faubert didn't expect Lin Yi to directly eat the Qi gathering pill as an opportunity to break through. This shocked him. Before Lin Yi said that he got a Qi gathering pill, Faubert didn't pay much attention to it. After all, it was a pill for the peak of the late stage of Earth class to break through to Heaven class. For Lin Yi, it was still too far away, so Faubert didn't say much about it. However, he didn't expect that Lin Yi had already taken it without permission. This made Faubert surprised and regretful. When he was young, he also heard about the Qi gathering pill. However, his master told him about the drawbacks of the Qi gathering pill. It's just that the drawbacks were not this drawbacks for Faubert. It was also because Faubert's sect was looking for the Qi gathering pill with great fanfare that it attracted the suspicion of other sections. Therefore, the treasure was exposed and the sect was destroyed. I know, it's just that after eating it, it'll be difficult to cultivate again. Now the natural world's spiritual energy is too thin. It's not as pure as the Qi in the Qi gathering pill. Therefore, after taking the Qi gathering pill, it's instinctive to reject the Qi in the natural world. It's impossible to continue cultivating in the natural world. Lin Yi said. Yes, it's like a barbarian eating raw meat. After eating cooked food, it's hard to swallow raw meat. It's the same principle. Faubert nodded and said, "Since you know, why did you still eat the chi-gathering pill? Don't you want to continue breaking through from Earth class?" "Ah, I'm different from others." Lin Yi smiled. "I have my own way of cultivation." After listening to Lin Yi's words, Faubert was slightly stunned. Although he was curious, he didn't ask further. In the past, he also had that treasure, so he didn't have the drawbacks of taking the chi-gathering pill. However, this treasure brought disaster to his sect. Therefore, after listening to Lin Yi's words, Faubert didn't ask further. "You want to learn martial arts? But martial arts are generally compatible with the Heart Sutra. When you cultivate the Heart Sutra, don't you have a martial art that goes with it?" Faubert asked curiously. Although some profound martial arts are also universal, if you don't have the corresponding Heart Sutra, even if you can learn it, it will be very difficult. Therefore, generally, every Heart Sutra has several corresponding martial arts. This is the essence of the predecessors. My Heart Sutra combined with the martial arts may not be suitable for your Heart Sutra. Chapter 1685. There's such a thing? Lin Yi was taken aback. He'd picked up his practitioner's arts from the cave, and other than a jade pendant and the first stage of the art of dragon mastery, he didn't have any other martial arts manuals. As a result, he didn't know what martial arts manuals were at all, and he'd almost gotten himself into a huge disadvantage. Heart Sutra. Don't tell me you don't have one? Seeing Lin Yi's surprised look, Faubert was also surprised. Not at the moment. Lin Yi smiled bitterly. My master practices differently from me, and the mantra I practice is not similar to others, so I don't have any martial techniques for now. I can only remember one type of martial skill, which is the one I practice myself. However, it's only the first 3 moves. I haven't had the time to practice the rest. As for the martial skill manuals, they're all in the sect's scripture pavilion. They're long gone. Uncle Fu smiled bitterly. If you want, I can teach you. Only 3 forms? And I don't even know if I can practice them. Lin Yi sighed helplessly. Not to mention if he could practice Faubert's martial technique. Even if he could, only 3 forms was a little too little. But now Lin Yi had no other choice. Although Lin Yi guessed that there should be a martial technique that went with the art of dragon mastery, Lin Yi didn't have it in his hands. And whether there was one behind the 2nd floor, Lin Yi didn't know either. If there wasn't, when the 3rd door would open was unknown. So Lin Yi was desperate. Since he had Faubert's martial technique, he might as well try it out. As long as it wasn't a martial technique that was soft and gentle like the Ice Palace, then Lin Yi could still try it out. But the Ice Palace martial technique was the polar opposite of Lin Yi's mantra. If he forced himself to practice it, he might go crazy. Holy Church, I'll spend the next 2 days recalling and sorting out the martial skills. You can give it a try, Faubert said. It's been too long since I've used martial skills. I'm a little emotional. I'm an Earth class master now. If you want, I can help you increase your strength right now. Lin Yi suddenly thought that if he could raise Uncle Fu to Earth class as well, then wouldn't it be easier for him to learn from Uncle Fu himself? Wouldn't it be easier and easier to understand than learning from the boring text? It can still be improved? Faubert's eyes suddenly lit up. Then he was filled with the flames of hope. Earth rank, that was the temptation of Earth rank. Once Faubert recovered his Earth rank, it would be equivalent to returning to the peak of his life. In that case, he would be one step closer to his dream of revenge. It should be possible, Lin Yi said. By the way, have you recovered your strength while I was away? Recently? Right, if you hadn't mentioned it, I would have forgotten about that. At this point, Faubert's face suddenly turned serious. I was wondering before. Ever since you helped me increase my strength, it's as if I don't absorb the heaven and earth spiritual chi in the natural world. When I practice for myself, there's no progress at all. No progress at all? Lin Yi was slightly taken aback, but then he thought of something very important. That was, since the chi-gathering pill contained a large amount of pure chi, people who used it would be repelled by the heaven and earth spiritual chi in the natural world. Then the energy in his body was even purer than the chi-gathering pill. After others used his own energy, wouldn't they be repelled by the heaven and earth spiritual chi in the natural world? After using the chi-gathering pill, Lin Yi realized that it didn't affect the absorption of the energy in the jade space at all. This proved that the energy in the jade space was the purest, and even the chi-gathering pill couldn't compare to it. That explained what Faubert was talking about. All of a sudden, Linny remembered something Lingshan said before. It seemed that Lingshan was in a similar situation as well. After her strength was forcefully increased by Linny, there was no effect when she practiced. At the thought, Linny couldn't help but smile bitterly. It seemed that the energy being too pure was a drawback as well. These people had received his favor, but at the same time, there was a huge drawback. When they leveled up, they had to rely on Lin Yi to help them break through. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to make any progress on their own. However, he had also absorbed the pure energy in the space of the jade pendant, so the energy in the chi-gathering pill was not very pure. From this, he could tell that if the difference in the purity of the energy was not too big, it would not be a problem. If the difference was too big, it would be a problem. The heaven and earth spiritual chi in the ancient times was abundant, and the drawback of the chi-gathering pill didn't exist. Now that the heaven and earth spiritual chi was getting thinner and thinner, the drawback was getting more and more obvious. The chi you gave me. Faubert seemed to have thought of this as well. Linny had said that there wouldn't be any drawbacks after using the chi-gathering pill. That meant that the chi Linny got was even purer than the chi in the chi-gathering pill. And so, after Lin Yi's chi went into Faubert's body, Faubert started to reject the heaven and earth spiritual chi. No matter how much he trained, he wouldn't make much progress. You thought of it too. Linny nodded and said, the chi I gave you should be about the same as the chi-gathering pill. It's both very pure, so it caused the same drawback as the chi-gathering pill. It seems that in the future, only I can help you level up, or you can use the chi-gathering pill to level up. That's the only way. Faubert smiled bitterly and said, but this way, I don't have to waste any effort. I can just sit back and enjoy the fruits of your labor. With you leveling up in front, I can just follow behind. I can break through and level up effortlessly. This is really... Originally, when Faubert was in his own sect, he had the help of that precious treasure, so he thought that leveling up was very fast. It was like opening a cheat and opening a cheat, so it was much easier than others. But now until he met Lin Yi, Faubert finally understood what a real cheat and cheat was. Lin Yi was much more powerful than the precious treasure of his own sect. Even with the help of that precious treasure, he still had to train hard in order to achieve anything. But with Lin Yi, he didn't need to do that at all. He just had to sit back and enjoy the fruits of others' labor. Lin Yi could be said to be much more important than that precious treasure. If this matter were to spread, it was estimated that a living person like Lin Yi would become a target for all the major sections. Of course, if Lin Yi had great strength, then he would become a powerful person who was even more sought after than the profession of alchemist, and would be respected by others. Chapter 1686. But if he wasn't strong enough and was captured and used as a leveling machine, that wouldn't be good. Lil Yi, it's best not to reveal this ability of yours to people you don't know. This ability of yours is a priceless treasure. Faubert said solemnly. An innocent man gets into trouble because of his wealth. Back then, I was the best example. Faubert, don't worry, I naturally won't let people I don't know about this ability of mine. The only people I can help are those I'm very close to and close to. Lin Yi said. It's getting late, shall we start now? Okay. Faubert nodded solemnly and sat cross-legged in front of Lin Yi. With the previous experience, Faubert was no stranger to Lin Yi, helping him increase his strength. Lin Yi held onto Faubert's meridians and entered the space of the jade, channeling the art of dragon mastery. Faubert, on the other hand, started channeling his Nigong. Immediately Lin Yi's boundless chi surged over, lifting Faubert's spirits. It wasn't the first time either of them increased their strength, so it was a walk in the park for them. Faubert quickly channeled his Nigong and channeled the chi from Lin Yi for his own use, peak early phase, mid-phase, peak mid-phase. Faubert's forehead was dripping with sweat. Although this was a way to sit back and enjoy the fruits of others' labor, the speed was too fast, and Faubert was having trouble digesting it. It was like force-feeding a duck, making Faubert very tired. Although it was hard, Faubert's heart was filled with excitement and joy. He had been training for so long and was still in the early phase of the mystic class, but as soon as Lin Yi came back, he raised his strength all the way up, directly breaking through several barriers that were extremely difficult for others. For normal practitioners, raising their strength by one level was already a very difficult thing. Even if Lin invented several ways to break through, it was still extremely difficult and tiring, not to mention others. The journey was smooth, from mid-phase peak to late-phase peak. But when he got here, Falbert's strength suddenly stopped. But this was what Lin had foreseen. Every time he leveled up, he could only raise the person's strength to late-phase peak, which was one level lower than his own. If he didn't use any special methods, then this would always be the case. But Lin wasn't worried. Lin invented the method of compressing qi, and successfully made Lingshan, Yutian Qintian, and Falbert break through from golden late-phase peak to mystic early phase. So when Falbert reached late-phase peak, Lin stopped the energy transfer when he was just a little bit away from mystic late-phase peak. He wanted to take a short break, and then send a compressed qi bag over, letting Falbert break through to Earth class. Rest for a while, and then I'll compress qi to help you break through. This process should be very painful, just like when you broke through from golden late phase peak to mystic early phase. Lin said. It's okay, I can hold on. Falbert nodded. This little pain is nothing compared to the increase in strength. Even if it's 10,000 times more painful, it'll be worth it. Falbert wasn't being humble, he was speaking the truth. If someone else could increase their strength by this much, not to mention this little pain, it would be worth it even if they had to stay in the hospital for a year and a half. Okay, let's continue. Lin nodded and started to compress qi. Lin was very familiar with the amount of energy needed to break through from mystic late phase peak to Earth class early phase, but since Lin was already in Earth class early phase, Lin had calculated the amount of qi needed. So, to ensure that Falbert could break through in one go, Lin compressed the exact amount of energy this time. The next moment, Lin sent the compressed qi into Falbert's body, and Falbert's face flushed red. His body made a loud bang, and with a scream, he fell to the ground, sweating profusely from the pain. Ah! Falbert moaned in pain as if he was severely injured. Falbert, how are you? Lin was startled, he didn't expect this to happen. He quickly put his hand on Falbert's meridians and checked, only to find that more than half of Falbert's meridians were damaged. No wonder Falbert was in so much pain. It would be weird if he wasn't in pain with more than half of his meridians damaged. But, why would Falbert's meridians be damaged, and not directly break through to Earth class? Suddenly, Lin remembered what happened after he was poisoned. After he was poisoned, he tried to increase his strength to mystic late phase peak, and then tried to compress qi to break through, but it failed. Compressing qi didn't help him break through, and instead, it caused his meridians to explode. And before that, when Lin broke through from mystic late phase to mystic late phase peak, he also tried to compress qi, but it also ended in failure. Thinking about this, Lin finally understood why Falbert was injured. It turned out that compressing qi was no longer effective for mystic late phase peak to Earth class. His meridians couldn't handle the consequences of releasing the compressed qi in an instant, and it was directly damaged. And before Lin helped Falbert raise his strength from mystic early phase to mystic late phase peak, and there were no obstacles in between, so Lin neglected this point. Or, it could be said that Lin thought that this method didn't help him break through, but it was helpful to forcefully increase the strength of others. But the result was still a failure, and this made Lin a little annoyed. Falbert's damaged meridians weren't a big deal, and Lin channeled the art of dragon mastery on the spot to help Falbert repair his damaged meridians. But what Lin was worried about now was that he couldn't raise others to Earth class. Lin's plan was to bring Lingshan, Chen Yutian, and Wu Qintian to the noble house meeting, but now it seemed that this dream couldn't be realized. Mystic late phase peak was already a top existence in the noble house meeting, but for a hidden noble house, it was still too weak. Chapter 1687. The noble house meeting was already in the bag for Lin, but Lin's eyes were on the hidden house Yu and house Xiao. If he touched the common house Yu, would the hidden house Yu come out to help? As the in-laws of the hidden house Yu and his enemy, would the hidden house Xiao come out as well? This was what Lin was worried about the most. If Lin had Lingshan, Chen Yuyao, Wu Qingyao and Falbert, for Earth class fighters, then it would be quite a shock to the hidden house Yu. At the very least, they would have to think about the consequences before touching him. As long as it wasn't their sky class, then Lin Yi and the others had the strength to fight. Falbert's meridians were fixed by Lin Yi. Falbert let out a long breath and wiped the cold sweat off his forehead. Didn't break through? Failed. Should we try again? I can hold it in, it's fine even if I fail, I can still fix it. Falbert saw the disappointment in Lin Yi's eyes and asked. No pop-up window, there's no need to try, this won't work. Lin Yi smiled bitterly. I've tried this before, trying to break through on my own, but I failed. It seems like the meridians of a mystic have a limit, they can't handle such a huge amount of compressed energy. Mystic late phase peak, I'm satisfied. Falbert stretched his arms. To be honest, from the moment I was crippled to the moment I started practicing physical arts, I never thought that one day I would become a mystic late phase peak. Falbert, you don't have to comfort me, I'm just a little disappointed. Lin Yi said, but it's nothing late phase mystic then, it's about time. You rest first, I'll go back and think of something else. Okay, then you should rest early too. Falbert saw that Lin Yi was unwilling and didn't want to give up, so he didn't say much. After returning to his room, Lin Yi immediately entered the Jade Space and discussed with Jiao Yazi about breaking through from Mystic Late Phase Peak to Earth Class. You've tried it so many times, and I've been watching from the side. If there was a way, why wouldn't I tell you? Jiao Yazi rolled his eyes and said, I don't have any other way, unless you become an alchemist and refine a qi-gathering pill for them. Isn't that the same as not saying anything? I haven't even crossed the threshold of an alchemist yet, and I'm still refining pills. Lin Yi smiled bitterly. Ever since I got to Earth Class, I've clearly felt the difference between me and the others. People with sex and families really are different. I've been trying to figure things out on my own, but the people from the other clans and families have been training and preparing for this. But you have the jade pendant and they don't. Jiao Yazi said. That's true. Lin Yi nodded. This was the only thing he was proud of, and his final trump card. It was a secret that couldn't be revealed. Don't worry too much, the 5-year full moon is coming. When you open the second level of the stone door, perhaps you'll have an unexpected reward. Jiao Yazi said. I can only place my hopes on that. Lin Yi said. Since Elder Jiao couldn't think of a way, Lin Yi had to think of a way himself. Lin Yi trained in the Jade Space as he thought of a way, but no matter how much he thought about it, he couldn't think of anything that could work. Indeed, when Lin Yi was poisoned, he'd thought of almost every possible way. Even if he thought of something now, he'd already rejected it. What other way could he come up with? If there really was a new way, Lin Yi wouldn't need to use the qi-gathering pill. The next day, Lin Yi went shopping with Ming Yao, Yushu, and Tang Yun before going to Chen Yiyao's hospital. Ling Shan was called to the hospital by Lin Yi as well. You're back. I heard that you went back to your hometown with Tang Yun. Ling Shan didn't know the specifics. She only knew that Lin Yi had been looking for an opportunity to break through, but she didn't hear from Lin Yi for a long time. After the case of the fake Lin Yi was finally closed, she wanted to contact Lin Yi, but her phone couldn't get through. So she called Ming Yao's house and found out that Lin Yi had gone back with Tang Yun. Lin Yi's phone couldn't get through, perhaps because the battery ran out, or because the Tang family's house was blocked. As for the specific reason, Lin Yi didn't know. Yeah, I just came back yesterday. Lin Yi said. How's the fake Lin Yi's case? I heard from Yao Yao that you came looking for me. It's closed. We didn't get any valuable clues. That suspect is no different from an idiot. Most of the nerves in his brain have been damaged by drugs, and after the hypnotist's instructions, he's no different from an idiot. Ling Shan said helplessly. We know he's just a puppet, but we just can't find the person behind the scenes. We've got the image of the driver at the toll booth, and we've done a comparison in our database, but we can't find anything similar. This person must have had plastic surgery, just like that fake Lin Yi, so we don't have any information on him. Lin Yi shrugged. What Ling Shan said wasn't too far off from what he'd expected. Since the enemy had such a high level of skill and methods, how could they let Ling Shan find any clues and loopholes so easily? The mastermind must have hidden it a long time ago. Lin Yi guessed that it was an enemy of his that did this, but he wasn't too sure who it was. Forget it, other than those enemies of mine, there's no one else who would be able to create a fake me. Lin Yi waved his hand. But it's fine, we'll have to face these people sooner or later. Let's face the noble house meeting first. You're right. Lingshan nodded. Right, Grandpa called me a couple of times already, asking me what's going on with Yufeng and me. He said that House Song's going to be very passive in the noble house meeting, but since it's a secret, I've been avoiding him. Grandpa's probably worried sick. I understand, but the situation's changed. I might not be able to help you guys get to Earth class. Lin Yi looked at Lingshan and Yu Yao, a little embarrassed. His words from before were still ringing in his ears, but he couldn't fulfill them now. To be continued. Baidu_LB_Phil. Chapter 1688. What? Lingshan and Yu Yao's faces froze. Every day, they'd hoped that Lin Yi would come back and raise their strength to Earth class early phase. That way, they'd be able to take the initiative in the noble house meeting and fight for a place for their house. But now, that dream was shattered. They couldn't accept it. Although all of this was because of Lin Yi, and without Lin Yi, they wouldn't even be mystic early phase. But now they'd already had that dream. And they'd imagined the scene they'd be in during the noble house meeting. Suddenly saying that they couldn't do it would be a huge blow to anyone's heart. No pop-up window, but, after the disappointment, Lingshan and Yu Yao thought of something more important. Lingshan looked up at Lin Yi. You didn't break through to Earth class? I did. Lin Yi sighed and channeled his practitioner's arts, showing his strength to Lingshan and Yu Yao. But, I can't bring you guys to Earth class. The method from before didn't work. I tried it with Faubert last night, and it didn't work. Ah. Lingshan didn't know what to say, but Lin Yi breaking through to Earth class was something worth celebrating. If Lin Yi had publicly supported House Song, then House Song would still be a part of the noble house, and their position wouldn't have changed. After all, the strongest person in the noble house meeting was only House Yuzu Shuaixing, a mystic late phase peak. Lin Yi was one level above him, so the situation wasn't too bad. As long as you broke through, that's fine. It doesn't matter if I get my revenge with my own hands. As long as I get my revenge, I'll be happy. Yu Yao was worried that Lin Yi would feel pressured, so after a moment of disappointment, she started to persuade Lin Yi. With an Earth-class boss like you protecting us, not only can I get my revenge, but House Qin can also keep its position. This is a happy ending. Huh. Lin Yi smiled. Who said you can't get your revenge with your own hands? Revenge doesn't have to be Earth-class early phase. That Yufeng is only a mystic mid-phase. Even if he broke through recently, he wouldn't be able to surpass mystic mid-phase peak. Mystic mid-phase. That's 2 levels higher than me. If he's at the peak of mid-phase, that's 3 levels higher. I'm only at the early phase of mystic class. How can I fight him? Chen Yuyao smiled bitterly. Instructor Eagle, you're not playing with me, are you? Lingshan was now one of Lin Yi's close friends. Not only were they close, but they also had another close relationship. So Lin Yi wouldn't hide things from her anymore. She knew about him and Huaijuan, and naturally, she knew about Yu Yao as well. Yu Yao wouldn't be too secretive in front of Lingshan. Could it be? Lingshan's eyes lit up as she looked at Lin Yi, pleasantly surprised. Keep talking, silly girl. Looks like you're not that dumb after all. Whether or not you can get rid of the silly girl hat will depend on your performance. Lin Yi smiled. I'm not dumb in the first place. Lingshan rolled her eyes angrily, but she had always been a punching bag in front of Lin Yi. She didn't dare go against Lin Yi's suggestion. If she could get rid of the silly girl hat, it would be a good thing. She continued. If I'm not wrong, you won't be able to raise us to Earth class early phase, but you can at least raise our strength to mystic mid-phase peak. Not bad. Lin Yi praised as he looked at Lingshan. You've grown some brains lately. Lingshan pouted, feeling wronged. It's alright, but don't call me silly girl anymore, call me cute girl. Yu Yao was about to take a sip of water when she heard what Lingshan said. She almost choked to death. Cough. 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 Cute girl? That's a good title. I was going to give it to Yao Yao or Shu. Tell me first. Why do you have to be at least mystic mid-phase peak? Lin Yi rejected Lingshan's suggestion. Because you said that Yufeng wouldn't exceed mystic mid-phase peak. And even if he was, Yu Yao bro would still be able to get his revenge. That means that you can at least raise us to mystic mid-phase peak. Lingshan said proudly. Am I right? That's right. Lin Yi nodded. Your analysis is correct. Then am I still silly girl? Can I change it? Lingshan was overjoyed. Her relationship with Lin Yi was one step closer, going from Miss Braindead to Miss Silly, and now it was going to change again. Actually, I'm basically calling you Lingshan now. Silly girl was just joking. Don't you think that silly girl is pretty cute? Lin Yi smiled. That's true. Lingshan nodded after some thought. That's what couples usually call each other. Then you can call me silly girl. As for Lingshan, just call me Shan Shan. Lingshan's a bit awkward. Alright. Lin Yi didn't need to argue with Lingshan about things that didn't really matter. He knew what Lingshan was thinking, but things like this were better to let nature take its course. At least for now, he didn't have the mood to do so. Then, what's the highest level you can raise us to? Chen Yuyao asked impatiently after Lingshan and Lin Yi were done flirting with each other. Mystic late phase peak. Lin Yi said, that's the limit for now. I'll think of another way to raise you guys to Earth class. Mystic late phase peak this. What's the difference between this and Earth class early phase? Chen Yuyao jumped up from his chair in shock. Before, Lin Yi said that he couldn't raise them to Earth class, and Chen Yuyao thought that he couldn't raise them at all. But now that he heard that he could raise them to Mystic late phase peak, he was overjoyed. In his eyes, Mystic late phase peak was already at the top of the noble houses. Once they reached Earth class, there would be hidden houses coming to recruit them. Of course, only house you had an Earth class. The other noble houses had Mystic early phase and middle phase, which was already very powerful. Like Wu Gonggao, the head of House Wu, who had Mystic mid phase, was already very powerful. As long as he didn't reach the level of a hidden house, Mystic late phase peak was already the highest level. To be continued. Baidu_CLB_fill slot. Chapter 1689. This was why Yu Yao was reacting like this. Earth class was too far away from him, since it was something that only existed in legends. It was too far away from the noble houses, and Mystic late phase peak was the highest level that he could see and touch. Wondrous bookroom. Yeah, Mystic late phase peak. That's already the top of the common world's noble houses. Lingshan was surprised as well. Lin Yi's words meant that she could reach Mystic late phase peak as well. Aren't your goals a little too low? Above the noble houses, there's the hidden noble houses, and above them are the ancient sects and ancient noble houses. As for what's above the ancient level, we don't know yet, but there's definitely a higher level above sky class. Don't you guys want to pursue a higher level of martial arts? Lin Yi smiled bitterly. This Ice Palace test had broadened Lin Yi's horizons a lot. In the past, Lin Yi had thought that he'd work hard to break through to sky class, but he'd never been this close to a sky class before. When he saw Crystal Candy, Qing and Elder Tang, Lin Yi realized that sky class wasn't that mysterious after all. Once upon a time, Mystic was Lin Yi's goal, because the highest level that Lin Yi could see was Mystic. Later on, Lin Yi broke through to Mystic, but Earth class entered Lin Yi's sights. And now Lin Yi's goal was Earth class. And when Lin Yi became an Earth class, he realized that sky class wasn't that far away. At every stage, there was a goal, but if you didn't reach that level, you'd never be able to touch that level. It was like a frog in a well. If it didn't go out, it'd always think that the sky was only as big as the well, but once it went out, the world would be different. But Lingshan and Yu Yao's reactions were understandable to Lin Yi. Their current level of contact was limited to the hidden noble houses. Only the hidden noble houses and normal sects had direct contact with the ancient levels. It was too far away for the noble houses. Above sky class. To be honest, Lingshan never thought that she'd become a sky class one day. Lingshan's dream and goal was Mystic early phase. As long as she reached that level, she'd be able to buy time for her brother to grow up and secure their position as a noble house. But just the early phase of Mystic class was still a dream, an unreachable dream. The people of noble houses only trained to protect their status. They never thought about chasing after the sky class like the hidden houses, chasing after immortality. But ever since she met Lin Yi, Lingshan realized that she really was a frog in a well. The things she didn't even dare to think about were realized with Lin Yi's help. And she was about to become the strongest person in the noble house, Mystic late phase peak. And that wasn't all. Lin Yi told her that she'd become a sky class one day. Lingshan was very excited. She didn't think that she'd be this lucky, meeting such a strong man. It seemed like she had to work hard. She might be a little later than Tang Yun, Meng Yao, and Yushu, but she was at least one step ahead of Xiao Xiao, right? Now that Xiao Xiao was Lin Yi's small wife, she didn't even have the title of a maid. Lingshan felt that her next goal was to get a title, even if it was a lowly maid. As long as she could follow Lin Yi for the rest of her life, then sky class wouldn't be a dream anymore. With that thought, Lingshan's eyes on Lin Yi heated up once more. She'd always looked up to strength since she was young. Otherwise she wouldn't have set a goal that her future husband had to be stronger than her. Now her goal seemed to have been achieved, and Lin Yi wasn't just a normal strong. He was stronger than she'd imagined. And so, after confirming that she liked Lin Yi, she lowered her standards, and the Miss of House song started to compromise. Being able to stay by Lin Yi's side was already good enough, and she didn't want Lin Yi to only have one woman by his side. There's an old saying that goes, when you're in the martial arts world, you can't do what you want. Lin Yi sighed. Thinking about it, that's indeed the case. Unless you find a place to live in seclusion, you'll have to keep chasing after higher realms of martial arts, because your enemies are growing as well. If you don't move forward, what awaits you is death. You're right. Yu Yao nodded. But sky class? I never thought about it in the past. My goal was actually to surpass Lil Sis Lingshan, and that would be the end of the world. But looking at me now, how childish was I? Even if I'm the same level as Lingshan now, I don't have any other thoughts, because my strength isn't from my own training, but from the man Lil Sis Lingshan likes. What right do I have to chase after her? So after thinking it through, I've realized that I should find the love that truly belongs to me, and not the obsession and fantasy I had when I was young. Huh. Lin Yi didn't know how to respond to Yu Yao's words, so he only smiled. Right, Lin Yi, I'll call you boss from now onwards. Wu Chintian calls you boss so smoothly, it's a little disrespectful for me to call you by your name. Yu Yao had wanted to say this a long time ago. Putting aside the fact that you were my instructor, now that you've helped me so much, you should be my boss. What about Shu if you call me boss? Isn't that messing up the seniority? Lin Yi smiled bitterly. He knew that Yu Yao would bring this up eventually. To this, Lin Yi didn't reject it. Lin Yi wasn't one to follow rules and be humble, so when Chen Tian, Qikuan, and Yu Bing called him boss, he agreed. But when it came to Yu Yao because of Yushu, Lin Yi still treated him like a big brother. Let's wait until she marries you first. Yu Yao smiled bitterly. It's not confirmed yet. Ahem. Yu Yao, what do you mean? Why are you giving your sister to Lin Yi? I didn't agree, so you're messing with me on purpose, aren't you? Lingshan glared at Yu Yao. Haha, it's just a joke. Yu Yao smiled. Alright, call me whatever you want, it's just a name. I'll raise you guys to Mystic Late Phase Peak, and with Wu Chintian, we'll go to the Noble House meeting and get justice. It's time for House Yu to pay back their blood debt. Lin Yi smiled.